OTPHJ. Over the pants hand job.
Over the pants hand jump.
Did you just make that up?
No, I was just waiting for the right fucking time.
Oh my god. That's hilarious.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. This is now where it's official.
It's happening.
Yeah, I said it. It sounds professional. Someone said who said I have a radio voice? Oh, Donald. Yeah. Cowboy was like, you got a radio voice. Now it's your radio
Donald
voice.
Cowboy?
Donald Cowboy Cerrone. He's a guy who fights in the UFC.
Awesome.
And he was here for the podcast the other day, and he said, he accused me of having a radio voice. Now to think about it. Fuck, do I?
You have a delicate voice.
Why is that a bad thing?
It is. It's
I think that's a compliment.
Well, I recognize that the instrument has a bunch of different sounds that it can make. What is one of the reasons why I appreciate music. I appreciate music. I mean, I've told you guys this before. Like, one of the things I love about what you guys do is I have zero talent. Like, I love something that I have, like, where I don't know anything about it. Like,
It's
I love
fascinating.
music. I'm a huge fan. I know nothing about it. When you guys start talking about bars and notes, and I'm like, blah,
Well,
blah, 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 blah.
I have a
no idea what
question.
you're saying.
We don't either.
Do you,
Honestly.
are you, like, because you use your voice a lot, you know, when you're on stage and you use it in different registers and you podcast. Do you, like, have you ever had problems with it?
No.
That's amazing.
Well, I
Because
do a lot of screaming, too. That's
well, I
what's
know
crazy.
you do. I know,
don't
and you hear a lot of
Weird.
People are
comedians
set up
that.
for it, I think.
Well-
You could do it without fucking your thing up.
Well, the UFC is the weirdest one. I fucking scream sometimes. Like when and I don't even know I'm doing it until I'm doing it. Like sometimes I'm standing up, I don't even know I'm up. Like I'm standing up while I'm doing like there was a Arlovsky and Travis Brown fight. This crazy fight between these two giant guys who were beating the fuck out of each other. They kept getting dropped like over and like Arlovsky dropped him I think 3 times and he kept getting up and then he dropped Arlovsky and then
And you're just
Arlovsky came
screaming.
back and knocked him out and by the end of the fight I was standing up screaming and
Took your shirt off?
I had to realize I didn't have my pants first. I didn't know I was up until I was like, well, I'm fucking standing up. I don't even know. I've only done that a couple times ever.
Yeah.
Just all of a sudden I'm standing up.
Well, the fact that you can scream and you don't lose your voice, I think is remarkable because it's like, back when I was bartending, I would lose my voice all the time just from trying to, raise your
talk
volume.
about-
And so,
yeah.
but when I quit bartending, my voice went up like an octave, and I had to go to speech therapy. So I learned all these things about like
So
how
where
to
were
use,
you back then?
how to
Can
use
I
my
answer
voice.
that? When you
down
say
here.
up an octave, is that like there's an actual note?
For singing, not
Yeah.
for my. I wasn't like speaking in an. I'd be like, hello.
Well, those old ladies that you hear about, like the old bar lady.
Yeah.
Like, who's that girl? Sue Bob
Yeah.
from the Whites of West Virginia.
Another Budweiser boy.
I always been the sexy one in the family. You ever seen it? You haven't seen it?
Oh, God.
Oh my God! No, you never seen it.
Never once.
The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia.
Oh, my God. Everyone talks about that.
Oh my God!
Who talked? Did you
Everybody-
tell us about this
When we
before?
lived in
have.
Nashville, that was like
Probably. Everybody.
required
Yeah.
viewing.
We have
Once
heard
you've
about
seen
this.
it, you can't shut the fuck up about it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, yo, I think wasn't Johnny Knoxville? Was it his? Amazing. It's just a really well done documentary. Not just freaky people, but it's all that bar
Yeah.
voice. They got that bar voice.
It's intense.
Cigarettes and yelling.
Yeah, cigarettes, booze, and yelling. And there's a
You guys getting
sexiness
hard
to
right
it though. There's definitely like a oh wow, that person has fun, And I've definitely like I like having a raspy voice, but also like know that it's just damage. So I'm not super pumped about it
I
at the
think
same
people
time.
are really attracted to voices like that in general, though. You listen to like Otis Redding. He's got a battered fucking voice.
Yeah.
Janis Joplin.
How about Bukowski? I mean, that was
Bukowski.
Oh,
half of his thing. Born into this.
Yeah.
And
That
you
was
trust
half
him.
of his thing. Like, oh yeah.
Yeah,
But
like,
I also
okay.
think it was
Yeah,
his
that's
like
a good way of saying it.
it's like some people have that incredible ability to like channel their person through this incredible voice like Bukowski or somebody
Yeah.
like that and like so they're easier to listen to.
Well, Bukowski's poems were always just raw and interesting, but they were nothing like when he read them. Especially when you saw, for him, he's one of the rare poets that I think that a visual aspect like enhances it significantly. Like I love one of my favorite. There's a bunch of videos of him at like these readings, and he would sit in front of these audiences and he would drink wine. And he would get fucked up. And if people would talk, he would yell at them, I'll come over there right now and I'll beat the fucking shit out of you. And he was this old drunk man. But he was and he really would have gone into the audience and fought people. And then he would read this like really intense stuff that he wrote about life and mortality and his, vision of humanity.
I had a
It's
lot of
so hard
respect for that.
to get people to care about poetry. So I think that's how you do it. You got to kind of yell it at them.
You're taking such a crazy chance to even say you wrote a poem.
Yeah.
Tell someone, hey, I wrote a poem. Nobody goes, yeah, fucking awesome. Bring it, dude. Bring that poem.
Let's hear those feelings.
You know, most of the time when someone says, I wrote a poem, I'd like you to read it. Like, no, no. Like if someone says they have a song, I'm like, oh, I love songs. Someone says, dude, I got the best joke. Oh, I can't wait to hear it.
I got the best poem.
You are a
Get the fuck out of here.
The best poem is a chore. The best.
Oh, man.
Right? The best poet is a bore, and the best poem is a chore. The best. The very best.
Little poetry right there, Joe.
It is.
Oh my
See
God,
how
did you just write a
beautiful
poem?
rhyme?
You
Damn.
pussy.
Ugh, that's my work.
Yeah. Don't lay that shit on us. But when there is a visual element, it's amazing. You know Spalding Gray?
Yes.
At all?
Yes.
Fuck, that's incredible.
Yeah. Didn't he commit suicide?
I don't remember. I don't know. But he did that swimming in Cambodia stuff,
Yeah,
and it's
say he
him
committed
just telling
suicide,
these
man.
stories, and it's really poetic.
I'm not to be
But
a
it's
downer.
the storytelling element. You know, and all of a sudden we want to listen to it. I want to listen to it. I think it's fucking cool.
How about Eric Bogosian?
I don't know who that dude is.
Yeah, I think, Spalding Gray did do that. He was having some health issues, and he wound up killing himself. But Eric Bogosian was a guy who, actually, he was doing like more
these, like, beat
one-man
poets?
shows.
Well,
no, Bogosian was in a bunch of movies for a while. But he actually did some acting, too. But he did like these one-man show things. And I want to say he was reading. I want to say they were like really well-done readings, too, that he did. But Spalding Gray was a guy who was like more known for it, right? Because he sat down at the table.
Yeah, he had this desk, and he even had like a real theatrical vibe. Lights would be going on. And he would,
Yeah. It's sad when you hear about a guy like that killing himself. Because you're like, fuck, dude. You know, all those people liked you.
Was he very famous when he died?
Well, he was famous enough that we're talking about him.
Yeah.
I don't,
When in
you
that
know,
community.
It's hard to, in that community, I'm sure he was reasonably well known for sure. And at the time, he had been on TV quite a bit, which is where Ben and I probably saw him first, right?
I saw him on the YouTube.
Okay,
Because
so
he had that series like, who's the filmmaker? Guy, he did a lot of concert films, and I can't remember his name right now. But in the 60s, he was at like, he was taking Hendrix footage, and he was taking a lot of festival footage in the 60s, which nobody was really doing at that time, or at least nowhere near.
Wait, this
what they're
isn't like
doing
some of
now.
the Rounder stuff. No, that was way earlier.
Lomax?
That's not Lomax.
No.
He was more.
Spalding Gray, I think his heyday was like the 80s, late 70s.
So it was
and
like
80s.
swimming to Cambodia
Yeah.
was 87.
But who's the
Would
guy
that
who
be
did
around
that?
then?
Who did the film?
What, Cambodia?
Who directed
Let me
it?
see here. Hold on, please.
Because he did this. I think the Toronto Peace Festival. This fucking amazing
Jonathan Demme.
Demi. Yeah.
Nice work.
There you go. You're faster than
Did
me,
you?
you bastard.
Oh, did you look it up?
I have it too. I was trying.
Yeah.
That was he was apparently. It was about his participation in the movie The Killing Fields. I didn't know that he had anything to do with that.
Yeah. Well, all these beautiful stories. It's not much about the production. It's about his experiences. He just kind of like took shit
Right.
he was an extreme or kind of like a radical liver.
Right.
You know, and just a great storyteller, which is super rare, I think. I mean, it seems like mainly that's kind of the comedian's realm now. Like, people don't give a shit about storytellers, but if you're a comedian, you can tell us a story.
Well, I think in a way, the problem is like trying to sell this, just like we're talking about, like selling poetry, selling a guy who's like doing a one-man show or one-man story. It's hard. But essentially, like a lot of people's podcasts are like that.
Yeah.
Or stand-up. I mean, stand-up.
Stand-up can be
Same thing,
in a lot of
basically.
ways, yeah. But I think the idea about stand-up is, though, you're going to try to be as self-indulgent, like only you try to be as little self-indulgent as possible. I mean, that's the wrong way of phrasing that.
Sure.
But the least amount of self-indulgent humanly possible, and the most amount of entertainment for the people that are listening. So the most amount of self-deprecation, the
Right.
most amount of laughs that you can get out of it, the most amount of humility and approaching the laugh so you don't make people uncomfortable. Like, there's all these variables in achieving the laugh. And achieving the laugh is like the proof that you're on the same level, and then they appreciate your sincerity, and then you're funny and you're hilarious.
Yeah.
And it's all working together. So it's all like this like dance that you're doing to achieve a result. Whereas you don't have to have a real result, with one of these fucking things. So you can go,
But it has
you
to
can
be
go
gripping.
deep.
You know what I mean?
It would have to, you would think.
It's
But,
sure.
but the amount that aren't, like
Uh-huh.
to get it to that polished diamond state requires a lot of discipline.
Sure, but you
How
can say the
much-
same about stand-up, right? I
But
mean,
stand up, you eat dick on stage, and it just balances it out. You can't eat.
okay.
It's just too hard. The bombing
Well-
is too hard on the soul.
yeah.
You'll come around to writing the best shit you can.
That's
Oh
a
my
I
God.
really think there's a level of bravery in stand-up that is not really involved in music. People just don't judge you the same way.
Well,
You know,
it's a
so
weird
I
thing to
commend
quantify
you.
because I think there's a level of bravery in being a soldier that's a lot tougher than a level. You know what I'm
Sure,
saying?
but
We
none
can
of
go-
those people
we
are
can go
here.
deeper and deeper, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's a
you're right.
level of bravery when
Yeah.
Buck Rogers saved the earth.
Uh-huh.
You know
No,
what I'm
you're right.
saying? I mean,
You're
there's
right.
always going to be.
Well,
but,
everybody makes their effort in a different way, you
yeah,
know.
definitely.
If I had
Yeah.
the physical structure to be a soldier and the brain power, emotional power,
Do you think you can go over and kick some ass for America?
I think I could, but I don't know if it would be for America as
That's the
much
kind
as
of
it would
soldiers we
probably be
want.
to like save myself, not to sound
Or
so
for
selfish.
Cincinnati. I'm not into
I would do it for
America, just
Cleveland.
parts of Ohio.
I would
yeah.
kick ass for
Well,
Cleveland.
National Guard,
I don't know
right
about
there.
all of America. I'm
Does
just kidding.
Cincinnati and Cleveland, do they have a rivalry at all? Like if you said I would kick ass for
Absolutely.
Cleveland, does people in Cincinnati, are they going
Absolutely.
to hate on you now next time you're there?
No, Cincinnati's fine by me.
Cincinnati.
No,
Damn.
well, no, look.
How dare you? It's really Kentucky.
Browns versus Bengals, Browns versus Steelers, Browns versus Ravens. That's the trifecta of difficult times in that region of the country. But I'll be honest with you, I love playing in Pittsburgh. I love playing in Cincinnati, and every time I'll have fun, harmless banter about our sports teams. I can't really say the same about Baltimore as much as, like, Baltimore is a great town, but we only really went through there once, and we literally stopped to eat dinner and found crack on the ground.
This is bad PRCs. We got to build
Sorry,
Baltimore back up.
I know, but we want to come play there. Help us.
You're going to have to take some time. Don't be a hero, okay? We were talking about the amount of bravery it takes to be a comedian. It takes more
Stay
bravery
out
to
of
play
there.
Baltimore. I had this guy, Michael Wood, who's a cop from Baltimore. Had him on the podcast.
Oh, wow.
He was a retired cop and,
Okay.
and a young guy, too. He had just a massive shoulder injury. His shoulder blew apart. They put it back together and it blew apart again. He had to retire. But very intelligent, articulate dude and very compassionate and outside of the police department now, still a young guy. What was he, like 35 or something like that? Maybe younger.
When you say blew
32?
apart, did he get shot?
No, I forget what the injury was, but he had to get shoulder reconstructive surgery, and then
That's
it
intense.
still didn't take, and it was like
Yeah.
his shoulder's fucked. Like he apparently was in a high-speed chase, and his shoulder just blew out while
Oh
he was
my
turning the steering wheel.
God.
It's pretty fucked up. But point is, like he was talking about how crazy Baltimore has always been. They found some directives, I guess it was, from the police department from the 1970s. And he's like, me and these other cops are reading this. We're like, Jesus fucking Christ, we're chasing our tails. Like, this is exactly the same places where the exact same crimes are going on.
No, there's a specific reason for that, and that's because there was like literal like constitutional or like city ordinances of segregation and consolidating these neighborhoods and having them be specifically black, and you couldn't buy a house in a certain neighborhood if you were black, even if you had the money. You know, it's the whole tier is like they were just built to fail.
Yeah.
And the reason that crime was flourishing and thriving so much is because they didn't have a fucking chance. I mean, it's like I listened to a NPR podcast a little while ago that explained how was it the 60s boom?
It was post-World War II.
Post World War
And
II.
they're making all these housing ordinances for the vets and things like that. And they're like, hey, guys, welcome back. You can't live here. You know,
Yeah.
it's pretty brutal.
It's awful.
It is pretty awful.
I didn't even know about that until a few years ago.
Yeah, and it
I don't
same with
remember
like
Do you remember who brought that up? Someone brought that up on the podcast, and we were like, what? And we had to look into it. Do you remember who it was, Jamie? No?
it's the same with education too. I mean, it would be like all of these, schools that just wouldn't let intelligent African Americans in, and you wouldn't get the education that you wanted or deserved or could achieve, and it was just like, you're kind of stuck in this box, which is those neighborhoods. They were made for that. It's so fucked up.
Well, there's so many levels to the whole thing. Like, first of all, the level of overcoming slavery. Like, you ever heard a white guy say, God, it was so long ago, fucking get over it. You know, I've heard white guys say that, and you go, okay. It's not that long ago.
No.
It seems
less
like
than 100 years before what she was just talking about.
Yeah, it seems like it was long. Like, I have a 1965 Corvette. When that Corvette, when it was made, 100 years before that, almost exactly, slavery was abolished. That's fucking crazy.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That might be one of the most bizarre things. 100 years is not my wife's mom died recently, and she was 97. Like, she was 100 years old.
Wow.
So from the time that she died to realistically,
Seen a lot of
she
stuff.
could have been alive while fucking slavery was happening.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, it's realistic.
That's no good.
Like, that amount of age, you could have someone from 1965, and if they were that age, they could remember fucking slavery.
Yeah.
What?
That's terrible. Oh, God.
God damn it. That's like when I was born.
Yeah.
I was born in 67. So I was born 2 years after that. Like, that is, to me, when I put it in those terms, like the generational terms, it was yesterday.
Yeah.
People had slaves yesterday.
Well, and all the,
Yeah, and they still do some places now. I mean, this
You're
is just
right.
our country.
You're right.
Like, this
You're
is
right.
going on all the time.
we were just talking about nail salons. Something that we found out it's really disturbing is that there's like a dime a dozen nail salons in New York City or places like LA where it's really cheap to get your toes and your fucking fingers
Yeah.
painted. And
Which feels really good, by the way.
there's this like wow, you're so
Keep it going,
you're
Sid.
you're so put together.
Thank
By the way, you
you.
are missing a button and I can see your belly button.
Whoa.
Just letting it breathe. Anyone have a problem with that in here?
I don't have a problem with it.
No, but these nail salons. They bring in men and women from Thailand, Vietnam, and they're like indentured servants, and they make them work, and they don't pay them, and they live in these like apartments with like 15 people sleeping in one room. Like it's
Guys, how
all
are we going
this
to
shit.
fix this shit?
Yeah, how
Show
do
us,
they
Joe.
fix that? It's a really good question. I think in this, like, what you can control, for sure, first is in this country. I mean, things like what we talked about before the show about my friend Justin Wren and all these little artifacts he brought back from the Congo. Like, that guy's like changing things in like real time. But like in this country, I think there's a bunch of things that could be done that are just not done.
Sure.
And one of the major ones is they have to treat really poor neighborhoods not like a static reality that has just this is what it is. It's a really poor neighborhood. They have to put it like it's a problem, like a wildfire. Like, here, you got a
Sure.
wildfire. What are you going to do? You're just going to let it burn and just get out of the way, or are you going to put it out? You have a problem. You have your electricity's down. You have a water main broke. You have there's a problem.
Yeah.
But they
But
look
those
at
have such direct solutions. That's what's so difficult about it. It's like put water on the fire, it's going to go out. This is like, God, the implications of all that stuff is so crazy.
I think they should admit, first and foremost, that a horrible crime has been done. In places like Baltimore, when they, what this Michael Wood described it as institutionalized racism. And we talk about the zones where
Sure.
people lived, it's hard to argue against that. So, and then you have to think about, like, what is the best way to help people out of this? What's the best way to engineer like a more crime-free, safer, more educated and aware, and have these people feel like they belong, a part of the rest of the city.
Yeah.
How to do that without
well, it's collective
engendering-
efforts. I mean,
Yeah.
it's something like I'm really glad we're talking about this, because I think like this kind of thing like keeps me up at night when I think about like fuck, what can I do? What can we do?
You should write a poem about it.
People want to hear it.
Listen, motherfucker, I'll write a
Damn.
poem right now.
That could be the start. but I think. Oh, sorry.
But things like Joe, like your podcast are
Your fucking podcast.
like your fucking podcast. I'm serious though. Like this kind of thing is part of that collective effort, is as giving people that first grain of thought of like, oh wow, I never knew that there were zoning laws in Baltimore and inner cities that made it really hard for black people to get ahead in life, that they had no scholarships. The changes that need to take place, like we don't have some kind of solution, like this think tank, but you have this platform where you can start talking about it and informing people. And when I get really worked up and and think about like what can we do. You know, we have this band that is growing and getting attention, and you know, you have these opportunities to sit here and talk to somebody like you, and people are listening, and you know, you hope that that starts more another train of thought that can actually make some kind of difference. I don't know what it is.
I think people are already having these conversations, and one of the things that they love about podcasts like this is because, you know, you go, yes, other people are thinking like this too. Like people are wondering, how did we get to be grown adults with this chaotic system in place that was established by people who, you know, when you go back to the origins of civilization, even just in this country, which is like a really recent country, those people were monsters. Those people that came here on boats, they were monsters.
Oh man,
the fucking, you ever read what Columbus had done?
Oh,
It's fucked up.
Oh my God,
No,
they were monsters. What they
but
did
the
to those
world
people.
was so like, and this isn't. Yeah, that's fucked up. I just read this book
Horrific.
about the first interactions between the West, or England mainly, or in Europe and Japan. You know, and the journeys that these people would have to go through to trade, to make contact with these countries, and. I mean, it's the way they looked at the world then was the way we look at the universe now. It's just like, I don't know what's over there. I have no idea what's going on. There's things jutting, there's icebergs jutting out of the water, and monsters that eat people, like, and cannibals and shit. Like, that was real. You know, so it's like this super, I think, climate of defensiveness that we all, just as a person, you grow up kind of trying to defend yourself against the
at an
environment.
extremely high level.
You know? And then back
it
then,
always takes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
there's just a layer of danger that, at least where we are, you're not accustomed to. So you're going around the world being like, holy fuck, like, where am I? I don't want to get killed. 50% of my men just died.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say other than the context is so different. You know?
It's a totally different world. That's why it's insane to have our civilization run the way it's run now, just because it's been done this way for 100 plus, 200 plus, whatever years. Like, if we wanted to start out today, how many people do you think would accept the electoral college? How many people would accept the idea that you actually just elect a representative, and that representative can actually, like, he can choose to vote against the wishes of the rest of the state? Like, you can, you have like electoral college, and then you have when each state has a certain amount of points that go in, and you watch when you watch the vote, like, they're like, how many votes is what, and what's going on? The numbers are in, and what the fuck are you talking about? And then you find out that, like, especially during like the George Bush days, that they were still doing it with a piece of paper, with a hole in the piece of paper. Like, what the fuck?
Well, that was when, wasn't that like the 90s when the election was recalled because they had a recount.
Well, to this day, people still believe Al Gore won.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that believe he won, and that they fucked him out of Florida. And there's also, like,
how would
the
we know?
Republicans that did some weird shit where they, like, they just crossed people's names out and banned them if they thought they were black, and then they would have to prove that they weren't the person that was off this list of, like, felons, or, you know, like, sometimes people, Jimmy White. There's a lot of fucking Jimmy Whites, man. You know, if you're Jimmy White and you live in Baltimore, and there's 1,000 of the Jimmy Whites, and 20 of them have been to jail. Like, good luck getting registered to vote. They're going to put you on a fucking list, and then you have to go to court to, like, make sure that you can vote. It takes too much time. They're not going to do it. No one's going to do it. They don't have the time for that, and they know that, and so they rigged it, which is just dark.
Well, here's the thing. It's like,
un-American.
The system is flawed. I mean, there's just no fucking two ways around it.
I just don't think it needs to be here anymore. I think it's like one of those things, like, you need to write books on paper with ink. You need a quill.
Yeah.
And you just sit by a candlelight.
It's super antiquated.
No, you don't need to sit by a candlelight. You don't need to write with a feather. You can talk, and your computer will dictate it.
Yeah.
Like this, we're in a new world.
Yeah.
And this world of, it's hard to get information across the states, so you need a representative. You want to make sure that every area, even the high population areas, they don't dominate the rural farmlands. So we need to have some sort of a system where people give a fuck about Iowa. I mean, that's really what it is. But that's only in place because it was all established when people were apes. They were raft riding apes with no cars.
Yeah.
They didn't have phones. They didn't know where the fuck you went when you went out of sight. If you went into the woods, they thought you were a dream. People didn't even know if they ever really did know you. They didn't know. If they fucking really knew for sure that you were coming back, they'd make a painting of you.
Damn.
Think about that.
Yeah.
They had fucking paintings. That was it. That was it.
Yeah. Remember the
Paintings
guy
and
from the wall in the
writing
cave?
shit. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
The wall in the
crazy.
cave was like an 8-track.
We were just in Old Town. We were just in Old Town San Diego yesterday. After we played in San Diego yesterday
Love San
afternoon.
Diego.
And
God, I love
Old
it
Town's
down
pretty,
there.
pretty. You
the
know,
shit.
it's pretty charming. But they had like, you know what? I was so hungry, and I was like walking by and passing. But they had like costumed, like San Diego like settlers. You know, but they like looked like pirates.
Okay.
And they were walking through the streets, and people were freaking out. They were like, well, there were like
tourists were
two
freaking out.
big buses of tourists going crazy. Like I was like, I was like, God damn
Wow.
it! Everybody, calm down.
Jesus.
It's
that
just a
period
guy with a
costuming.
cape on.
And then-
Fucking slow your roll.
Yeah, chill.
But it was funny. Well, just kind of piggybacking on what we're talking about, because I'm thoroughly obsessed with like frontier shows like Deadwood.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm watching Hell on Wheels right now. I just got into this show, Hell on Wheels.
What is
and
that?
It's on AMC, and it's really well written. I'm only in like season 2, so I don't know what happens after this, guys. Like I don't know if this is like
Don't blow
a
this
poor
for the
statement,
people.
but it's still going, so that says something
What
about
is it
it.
about?
It's about this railroad that's being built, and like it's incredible to be privy to that day and age where like it's so wild, it's so lawless. Everybody is just like barely staying alive. You're like Indians are coming in, killing you and slaughtering you. You know, you're like taking over their shit, and it's really for some reason it like just cuts right to my soul. Like I can't not be just totally enamored and enthralled by it. And it like it's interesting to think about, because that also wasn't that long ago.
No.
The frontier days when the country focused solely on this one thing together, building this country. Well, maybe not together, because there's so many immigrants and so many people that were like isolated. But the point is that like it's interesting to witness everyone fighting their battle, But there's these great parts of the show when they all have to come together for a common purpose. Like there's robbers robbing the train that gets them their pay, and if they don't get their pay, they're broke. So there's like this interesting camaraderie, and then they're enemies, and then and that's kind of how it is in real life. Which is interesting to think about, because we're all so different. And when you have these efforts, and I don't want to say common enemy, because that sounds really negative. But like when you're all working towards something with your differences, that's when actual progress starts being made.
Right. That's always a good scene in a movie, right?
Yeah,
The
it's a good scene in a
you
movie.
shake hand with the neighbors to fight the monsters.
Yeah,
Danny
yeah.
Glover and Mel
Guy's a dick.
Gibson getting
Yeah.
along all of a sudden. It's the truth.
Exactly.
We're watching Terminator, fucking Terminator
Well,
2.
Isn't that really why we get so angry and offended when people whine and bitch today? Because like you're like, good fucking Lord, you live in the best time ever.
Yeah.
Like society's going to shit.
No, it's
man.
good to be humble.
The world is fucking falling apart. Okay, no one has any values anymore. I mean, no one values culture or art. Will you please stop saying that, everyone? We're just dealing with overwhelming numbers of people yelling in a room. That's
Yeah.
what it is. It's not that there's not as much or way more interesting shit in that noise. It's just there's so many fucking people communicating now.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's the whole rule, the whole game is a different thing. Everyone talks now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Well,
Yeah.
what's super cool is like getting people outside of their comfort zone and watching how they deal with it in like a way that like my folks live in Ohio, pretty Republican. But they're really good people, and they're fucking hilarious. And they came out to 5 shows in Colorado on this last tour that we had.
Uh-oh, contact
and it was
high.
oh my God, it was so Joe, it was so
We
funny.
came so close to smoking weed with him.
Yeah, my
so
dad.
close.
So
What
my
happened?
dad just
What went wrong?
retired.
There was like a ginger backing out
Wish
of the
I
room.
was there to
you know?
help.
It was so my dad's got a super thick Cleveland accent. He's like, if I'm gonna smoke pot with my daughter and it's legal, I'm gonna do it. And I was just like,
But
Dad.
you didn't do it, Ray.
And I was like, well, it ain't no
Well, there's
70s
more
dirt
time.
weed. I mean, I was like, Ray,
More time.
Yeah,
look,
Ray,
creature.
you got to take it
we
slow,
need to talk
son.
about what you're getting into. But
You got to make sure a guy like that doesn't drown.
But I want to tell you this fucking
so
cool
good.
thing, which was that like, you know, I love my parents so much, and they're really incredible people, and I've watched them grow in this way that like they're always changing, and they're like, even though they have like their beliefs, and my dad has worked his fucking ass off his entire life, you know, and he's a, you know, middle class business owner, just retired, so he's got this, you know, this view on life, and then we put him in Colorado, and they caravaned for 5 shows, and we had lunch with this with these incredible people, this judge, this lawyer, and these like, you know, kind of liberal hippie, you know, politicians in Colorado. And we were sitting at a table with my parents, and it was so cool to watch them interact with people that they would never hang out with. And then watch them sort of like lay back and have like just like absorb this information that's not something that they would have on a regular basis. And so they left, and it was such an interesting, like, I really felt our relationship change a little bit after that, you know, and just watching them let loose. My dad really wanted to smoke weed, but it just never worked out. No, he did, but he had to drive, and that was responsible because he would have been fucked up.
Do you think, like, as you've gotten more successful and as you've gotten older, your dad can look at you not just as his daughter, but also as an adult human being where he respects your opinion?
Oh yeah, yeah. No,
So-
we're very.
I was being a dick, sorry.
We have like we have a really incredible relationship. Wait, what did you say?
I said
you
meal
fucker?
ticket.
said
I was
it's so
joking.
subtle.
Oh, you're such a
He
dick.
said it's so subtle.
We're not there yet, though.
Well,
Yeah, we will.
meal ticket.
A lot of this stuff.
No,
yeah.
I would love to take care
There's
of them one
nothing
day.
wrong with that.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful.
But I mean, you're a woman now, and you're like a professional singer of the utmost respect. Like, people love your shit. So it's like he goes to see you, and he sees his daughter on stage wailing out these songs, and people going nuts. You don't think that must make him think like, I gotta appreciate like what it took to do that. I have to appreciate what's happening here. Like, this isn't just my daughter. She doesn't just have to listen to me. She's not like, I'm not right about everything. I can't be right about everything because I can't do that.
No, both my mom and my dad are really their support like is beyond anything I ever could have wanted. I mean, I moved to New York City when I was 16 because I used to be I was a catalog model, and I was doing really well, and my parents were like, I was starting my junior year of high school, and I was really fucking driven. Like, I had no inhibitions, and I was like, I want to go here, and I want to go here, and do you guys think I can do that? And they're like, yeah. And they let me move there when I was 16.
Wow.
And it was fucking crazy. And it honestly was one of those, I think, kind of pivotal moments where it was their belief in the fact that I could do what I wanted, because they were like, I think you have something special, you know, which is like a really incredible feeling to have. And they were always behind me. And like, yeah, we fight. I mean, my family's really close, so we fight hard. There's a lot of yelling. I grew up with a lot of yelling, but
She got your dad high. That's all
I
I'm hearing
know,
here.
I know. Well,
I'm hearing a
Simple.
lot of fucking memory
so
lane.
simple.
I should have got my dad high.
Yeah. Oh my God.
There's always a future.
Yeah. There's. This is gonna happen at some
It's
point,
gonna have
and we'll
to.
talk all
yeah,
about
you just
it.
gotta baby fuck him.
What is that?
Bring
What did
them
she just
in.
say?
Excuse me.
Slow baby steps.
Can we find another
Baby
metaphor?
It's baby steps.
Right.
Baby
There was
steps.
another word in there.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying though. It got across. Like,
Yeah.
even though it sounds like an inappropriate statement,
Uh-huh.
but you know what I'm saying.
No, I've adjusted
slow
to
and
it.
sure. Slow and sure.
Kind of
Yeah,
innocent.
it's a
you
little
know,
puff. It's a little puff.
Yeah.
It's
Next
gonna
thing you
happen.
know, he's
I know
baking cookies.
that Ray was had a thing for Quaaludes in the 70s. He was
Well,
like,
that's
that
a
was the thing.
problem too, right? You start thinking like, I
Sorry,
don't want to
Dad.
be that loser again.
Mhm.
You know.
Take you down the tunnel, I'm sure.
Well, you also realize, hey, this doesn't go with success.
Yeah.
This doesn't help me get my shit together
Sure.
and not be psychologically terrified most of the day.
Yeah.
Looking around for my next fix of Quaaludes.
It's
Sure.
nice to know that they were human though. Like, my mom used
Yeah.
to smoke weed. My dad used to, smoke weed, and like, well, we're gonna do this. Ben, can
I'm
we
in
get
now.
your dad high?
I think that's a bad idea. Actually, or it might be amazing. I don't know. My dad's 94.
Oh, it'd
Right.
be perfect. What are you
You
holding
think-
back? Cancer? What are you worried about?
He's had that.
He's
Yeah,
94.
he's
few
done
times.
that. Well,
Come on,
because
94 is the home
it's the
stretch.
convincing. Man, maybe you're right.
Ben,
Shit.
94 is the home stretch.
He might freak the fuck out.
No,
though.
but he might like ease slowly into the great beyond too. Like
You're
get
right.
your old man to go from pot to mushrooms. They say that mushrooms is a significant reliever of the stress of worrying about the expectations of ending
I'm so
your life.
glad you just said it. I've never even thought about it with him. You know, but he
Yeah.
has anxiety. He's freaked out. He's staring at the void, dude. For
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
seeing his body deteriorate.
Yeah.
All these things happen, and I get the anxiety from him.
It's a real issue with people, man. You know, when we were kids and we would see what we would call in quotes the angry old man, you know, get out of my yard, you fucking kids. And we always thought, like, God, this
We
guy's
had a
such
bunch of those.
downer. Everybody has them. Every
the dude
neighborhood
in
has
my
the guy.
neighborhood poisoned the cats. He was an evil
that's so
motherfucker. Yeah, he
awful.
put rat poison and killed a bunch of cats. Forgot his
God.
name. He's
Asshole.
long gone though.
Of course, of course. Yeah, every neighborhood has like old people that are angry, and one of the things they're angry at is like the vitality of their vessel is
Sure.
eroding before their eyes.
Yeah.
And you just get caught up in this shit, and that's when when you meet old people that hate young people.
Yeah.
You know, that was Elizabeth Bathory, I think it was. Is that her name?
I don't know.
One of the most evil women of all time. She was a royal. Oh, let me pull up.
Is this
the
in New
story,
Orleans?
'cause-
There was a crazy
no, it was
chick
a
in New
long
Orleans.
time ago. It was in like I want to say Hungary. Isabeth, but she's like one of the most famous serial killers of all time.
Oh shit.
And what she started doing after she started getting older, she started killing all these young women
Oh my
that were in the
God.
town, and she would like bathe in their blood.
Oh
and
my
she would,
God.
She would torture them. Yeah, it was in the 1500s in Hungary. 1560.
What was her name?
Elizabeth Bathory.
Oh, I know
And,
exactly who you're talking about.
She apparently
Really?
was like attractive when she was younger, and as she got older,
Yeah.
her
That's
her
like
appearance faded.
Sleeping Beauty or Snow White kind of.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, it's just
whole-
it's a scary fucking story because she was a royal. She was a very wealthy royal person, so
She
she
could
never
do what she wanted.
She could get away with
her
it.
punishment was just stay in your castle.
Yeah. She killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
It was like it might have been like hundreds of women or something
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it was hundreds.
Yeah,
And they
that's
just
fucked up.
they just made her stay in her castle. That was it. That was the punishment. I think she had like a special room that she had to stay in her castle. I mean,
With a
so it's
hot tub.
kind of jail, I guess. But I mean, she still had her money. She still had
Well,
her.
isn't
her
that
servants.
interesting? Like that's kind of how like it is now, just in a very different way. Like people that are on top can get away with so much. Like this fucking have you seen the Robert Durst stuff on HBO?
Yeah,
Um,
well, I,
I mean,
haven't seen
he's-
it, but I know about it.
He's gotten pretty far, one would say, and now he's kind of fucked himself, and it's looking like, hopefully, fingers crossed, you know,
Yeah, he's gonna go to jail, right?
he's in jail.
Well,
but
he should be dead.
She will be.
We don't have any time
will
for
be
you,
soon.
dude.
think
So
he will be.
apparently I was incorrect. She, at the end of her life, they put her in solitary confinement. So she was in a castle,
yeah.
but she was placed in solitary. She was kept bricked into a set of rooms with only small slits left open for ventilation and the passing of food.
Oh Jesus.
She remained there for 4 years until her death.
So she was psychotic anyway,
Yeah.
and then they trapped.
She
She
was
just
a-
put her in like a black room.
She was a rich monster. That's what
Yeah.
she was. She was a privileged, rich monster. And at the end, she was such a monster. When they found what she had done, that they found the bones of these hundreds of women, and they knew
my
that she had
God.
been doing it forever. And the servants knew, and she'd
Yeah.
bring girls in, and they would be screaming, and she would cut them up in front of everybody and tie them up, and like fill tubs with their blood and
That's
throw their
horrifying.
bodies
That's
aside.
disgusting,
And but she did it for a long fucking
There was
time.
a
Medieval
woman
before
in
she
torture.
stepped
New
in.
Orleans too. There, a famous woman in New Orleans. There's a house you can go to, and she was just a, member of the aristocracy.
Wait, was that on American Horror Story?
I don't know, but it's just like a famous story.
God, it's so
Yeah, there's
scary.
We're gonna be in New
fucked up
Orleans
people.
soon. You want to go?
God.
No, me either.
No, I don't. Not interested in that.
It's just so scary. It's so scary where people can get to if they have a position of ultimate
Oh,
power. Like
yeah.
if they have a slave, if they have if they have a royalty. Like if you've seen what's going on in Los Angeles with all these guys from the Middle East that keep doing crazy things and
No.
they're getting arrested and they're claiming diplomatic immunity.
Like that's
haven't seen
Lethal
it?
Weapon. Bringing it back to Lethal Weapon. Sorry, but that was like a big part of that movie.
Was that like
yeah,
the South
diplomatic immunity.
African
dude.
guy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
real.
right. I didn't even
Ben,
how do you
Soothsayers.
where did you get that from?
Soothsayers.
Man,
Benjamin.
where are you pulling these
Love that movie.
details from?
Love that movie.
There's been a bunch of them lately. One guy was two guys fled the country because they were racing through Beverly Hills.
Oh, I did hear about
And they
that.
tried to claim diplomatic immunity, and they just skirted
Fucking
one
douchebags.
Oh my
from
God.
Qatari, Qatri, whatever the fuck that is. One of those strange, probably not even, they don't even use the English language. So like their letters are different than our letters. So when we
Right.
write something like really awful, like QTARI or something like that, like,
just doesn't do
that's
it.
our fuck up. It's not their fuck up. They don't even use our, like, why do we make it so,
Yeah.
why does it have to be such a weird fucking
It's the
spelling?
tools we got.
But that's
You know?
wrong. Say it like, what does it sound like, bitch? Write it like that. Why is that so hard?
Sure.
Oh
Tell
my
me,
God.
tell me what it sounds like.
We
I'll
need some
write it
new
in my
letters,
own
Joe.
language.
We need some new letters.
We're fine. We just
Okay.
gotta stop talking to people that use phlegm.
Oh man.
for
Come
Hey.
on.
Oh.
You talking to a Jew. You talking to a Jew, brother.
Ben, do something, Ben.
I don't know. He's not listening to me. I lost him. Gone on some sort of rant.
That was back when people worked
You know,
on
you actually
farms
just said
a lot.
of things, right?
They had a
Said
lot
some
of
really beautiful
milk.
things right there.
They ate a lot of cheese. It was a big part of their diet. There was a lot of phlegm in the air back then.
Sure.
Oh my
People
God.
were super phlegmy.
It goes back to what we were talking about before. Human voice. I can do some crazy shit. You can do some crazy shit with this. Have you
Right.
seen? There's a video of a girl who can sing 2 pitches at the
Yeah.
same time.
It's fucked up.
What?
Yeah, and she can move them in opposite directions. She can hold one, move another one. Like she's just using her body. I'll look it up.
How is she? Well, Jamie will do it. He'll pull it up. Put
Okay.
your headset on.
There's a word for it.
He'll find it.
Wait, there's a,
Well, there's Tuvan throat singing in Mongolia where they're activating
Yeah.
all these overtones.
It's
and people
crazy.
are literally singing chords. Like we can
no,
do
but the
crazy
woman you're
shit.
talking about, there's
None
a
of us do.
specific word for it. Is it like tonal something?
Polyphonic overtones.
Thank you. Way Samsonite. Way off.
Singing, but more than one.
Wow.
I'm trying, guys. Doing my best here.
So, do you think that this is something that she was born with this ability,
Well,
or
we're
is
all
this
we can all
something-
do it. We could do it. We all have the equipment. It's like perfect pitch. You know about what perfect pitch is?
No.
So
What's
perfect pitch is the ability to just recognize frequencies as per the musical alphabet. So if I went like this,
B flat. Yeah.
you would know, oh, that's a G because I know the sound of that frequency.
Yeah.
And we're all born with this. But for the most part, it's not really useful. So we just kind of phase it out.
right.
But some people develop it, or for some weird kind of developmental reason, they hold on to it. And if you're a musician, can be super helpful. But this chick, she's just doing what we can all do, but she's just developed it.
Let's hear it.
The Lady and the Cat. Yes.
She's kind of a babe too.
So crazy.
You hear those pitches? It's incredible.
Holy shit.
Oh my God. Wow.
It's amazing. I mean, it goes on for minutes where she'll just
See-
be, the control she has is incredible.
Oh my God, she has an English accent.
Choose an overtone.
It's not English.
No, I think she has some sort of
In my mind, it's
Eastern. My mind, she has
trying to make it
wings.
perfect.
It's awesome.
Wow. So is this something that she developed?
Yeah.
Huh. Do you think
You can do it, Joe. I believe in you.
I don't believe in me. Interesting.
Isn't it beautiful? Support takes us so far.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. Have you heard Tuvan throat singing?
No.
It's a Mongolian thing. It's a super traditional.
Here's the thing, though. Right now, it's a novelty because that doesn't sound as good as someone singing awesome. So it's kind of silly.
I can sort of agree. That was more like the introductory. That would be like you being like, this is how you sweep the knee. I don't really know the terminology.
Sweep the knee.
Yeah,
You see
well
Karate Kid?
done.
I'm sorry, Joe. Joe, look, our friendship is on a different level, but at some point, I really hope you can teach me the martial arts ways.
Would
But I
you
mean,
teach us? Would
can you
be our
actually-
I was
Sifu?
sure. Yeah, I would show you guys some stuff. I don't have the time to spend to
God
like really train you. Because but no, this is why I'm going to say this, because if you really want to learn martial arts is not something that you're ever going to get good by dabbling.
Sure.
You're going to have to get obsessed with it. And
Well,
then you're going to
that's
have to do it
fine.
all the time. And I don't have the time to teach you
I'm
all
good
the
at
time.
obsessing
Well,
over
we'll
things.
find others, dude. You're not
But
only
that's what I'm saying.
fucking.
But what I would do is I would introduce you guys to some movement and some
Okay.
techniques.
Great.
And I would show you what your body's possible of if you
Okay.
understood where to put it. And like simple stuff. There's like simple stuff that you can do, especially jujitsu. Jujitsu is one of the easiest ones for me to explain to someone, because then I can explain to you in a way that I get my kids to do it. Like my kids choke me all the time. But trying to teach
Should
my
just talk
kids
to them.
trying to teach my kids to utilize their hips properly, to throw their weight into a kick. Like there's a snap with your
Yeah.
hip.
That shit's dance,
I do
dude.
know
I mean,
that.
that's the same.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I
In
really.
a way.
It totally is, and I know that's why I didn't. You give me the poem face.
Well,
but
it is in a way.
it's-
It is in a way, in the same way that like we were talking about pool is in a way, or
It's just movement. Sorry,
yeah,
movement. we'll call it
when
that.
it's nice, right? When it's
Sure.
nice, when it's nice to look at.
Yeah.
like
When
when
I-
someone's dancing, it's nice to
It's
look
beautiful.
at.
When I think about guitar, that's a huge reason why I want to take martial arts, is because of how it would impact playing the guitar, playing an instrument, doing anything. Because all of
Yeah.
a sudden your
Posture.
efficiency, your movement changes, and you're capable of different stuff.
Yeah,
Right?
I think everything is like that.
Teach
I
me
think
your ways.
I think if you watch like a little kid's gymnastics class, I take my kids to gymnastics and I watch these little kids bounce around. And it's very interesting watching like someone nail something.
Yeah.
You know, like there's these girls that are older, you know, they're probably like 12 or 13 or something along those lines. And they're like just starting to figure out how to do backflips, and they're just
God.
starting to figure out how to land gracefully. And then there's girls that are even older than that, like maybe 16 and 17, that are just wicked.
Yeah.
You watch them flip through the air and you're like, Jesus, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, and there's some young boys that do like these crazy ring exercises where they can stretch their
Iron
arms out
cross,
straight.
dude.
And,
It's wild.
and they're fucking, they bring their feet up above their head, and they flip over and they do a handstand. I mean, it's nuts, right?
Yeah.
There's something about watching someone nail movement, you know? And
Yeah.
it's just like,
It's inspiring.
yeah,
man.
it's
just like, oh, shit.
guitar, someone shredding, it's someone
Yeah.
doing a drum solo.
Well, and it impacts everything. So I love to play drums, and I played a lot when I was a kid, less now, but I narrowed my practice down to one thing, and I feel pretty fine about it. You know, I feel like with that one kind of concept, I can get where I want to go, which is have any of my limbs do what any of my other limbs can do. You know what I mean? If my
Right.
left hand can do it, my right foot has to be able to do it. My left foot can do it, vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
You have to be a
Um,
part.
It has to not
You have to
matter.
be able to make the
And when I-
sound you want to
Daddy
make.
boom.
Nice. And when I was doing that, I would notice myself, all of a sudden I'd be eating with my left hand. You know what I mean? I wouldn't even think about it. I started shooting basketballs with my left hand. I didn't even know. But
Were
just
you
from
making the
playing
shot?
drums- Yeah, dude, I was fucking. No, I mean, I missed the shot horribly, but.
You know, I think of drums kind of as a person who doesn't know how to play any musical instruments. I think of drums as sculpture. This is
Okay.
what I think. I think when you're drumming, like when I watch a heavy duty drum solo, I think half of what this guy has to do is get away from whatever restrictions his body has on his movements. Like half of what a drummer is doing, it's so physical. There's so much speed and coordination involved that half of what you're doing is heightening your ability to move in like the exact way you want it to move to create a certain sound. And a guy like me, I can't do it.
Yeah.
You know, if I brought them, I mean, I could eventually, I'm sure, learn how to play drums. But I'm saying, like, if I brought someone into my world and made them do something that I do physically all the time, like an odd thing, like play pool or something like that. If they didn't know how to play pool, it'd be real awkward and goofy, and their body wouldn't
Yeah.
move right.
Yeah.
But if they know where the fucking stick is going.
Yeah.
Even though I don't know how to do it, like
Yeah.
I see this. It's
Yeah.
half of what he's doing is trying to cut down on the amount of resistance in his body, listening to his mind to make
Yeah.
the sound.
Well, it's the same thing with any instruments, guitar,
Yeah.
violin, or whatever. It's just on a micro level. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's just more contained, and that's why I think martial arts, dude. Once we do that, we'll fucking
Yeah.
take over the world.
Can you come on the road with
Yeah,
us?
and we'll give you drum
That'd be
lessons.
hard to do, but we could do more shows like we're doing New Year's Eve. That's how we plug.
Plug in
That's
it.
how we
Plug
plug
in
around
it.
this bitch. If you guys want to go to that show, there is not many tickets left. I'll just tell you right now, it's not even October. What is it? September 28th or something
Yep.
today? What is today? 28th. But it's a crazy show. It's Honey Honey. It's Joey Diaz, Duncan Trussell, Ari Shaffir, and me at the Wiltern in Los Angeles. New
Guys,
Year's
bring
Eve.
it in 2016.
We're ready. We were here for the end of the world that didn't happen. I think maybe because of us.
Whoa,
Yeah.
good
Oh my
work,
God.
Joe.
I think the show with you, me,
Good
and
work.
Stanhope and Diaz might have been
It
so
was some
epic.
valiant efforts.
You said this podcast changing things.
I'm-
I think the universe said, let's give these dumb monkeys a chance. They pulled together a
Couple more
pretty
years.
dope end of the mind calendar show.
Oh my God.
man.
But it was so fun. We said, we got to do more of those. We fucking never did.
What
We
do you do-
never
we're
did.
doing
No,
it,
we're
dude.
doing- yeah,
Here
it's
it
I know,
happening.
but we didn't for 3 years.
It's
This
nice.
is 3
It's nice
years
to
from
have
the last
something
one
to
we
wait
did.
for. You know,
Shit's
you're
been
looking forward to
simmering.
it.
Yeah, that marinara is gonna be ripe.
Yeah, no wine before it's time. Remember Orson Welles? He used to do those commercials.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, see, you don't remember. You have to like.
But I remember no women before the fight, Rocky. The legs.
Oh yeah, but you probably saw that on YouTube.
He
I saw it in the movie theater back when there was no newspapers. Back when people were sending messages on pigeons and shit.
What?
Oh my God.
They had smoke signals if something was wrong. That's when I saw it.
That's amazing.
Lots changed, Joe.
Like, what were you saying that you saw on YouTube? You were talking about something that you'd seen on YouTube. You were watching.
Spalding Gray.
Yeah, Spalding Gray.
Yep,
See, I
yep.
saw that guy on television, actual television, and I think he did movies.
He
was
did.
in-
He did some
like in the
short films
theater.
too, and like great.
But
Yeah,
I think he did like movies of his storytelling.
that's what
and they
what
released
he
it in
brought. Jonathan
theaters.
Demme shot this swimming to
Oh,
Cambodia
right.
thing. Was the film? Yeah.
That's right. So it was
So
in the
cool.
movie theaters. Like,
Sure.
In my mind, for whatever reason, it was on HBO or something like that. But I guess
don't
that's not entirely correct. I think it actually was a movie theater. I'm
Maybe.
trying to
I was trying to.
Under the-
muffle the sound of
Yeah, I really
the
was.
cubes.
I was the cubes refill, guys. I don't know.
Yeah, I
Let's
think
do
it's
it.
about
You
time
ready?
for round two.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
we were talking about old people earlier, and it's interesting because
Bring it on back.
speaking of alcohol,
Look, yellow Joe.
there's so many things. Oh, Joe, you
Joe,
never
you're not
put the
supposed-
glass
as a
in the
bartender,
ice.
yeah, you can
Bartending
do.
rule.
get shards.
Okay.
I was
Yeah,
just
you fine.
Hey,
with
it's
that.
your bowels.
If the glass breaks, you get new ice.
He's got a solution.
That's-
but
that's
say
it.
when. Say
Yeah.
when.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
So many lessons.
There are
you know,
solutions out
I think
there,
about
folks.
that. I think about old people a lot when I get like you wake up and you have a stiff neck and you're like, fuck, I can't drink. And like you're miserable and you're like crotchety because your neck hurts or your shoulder or whatever from the van or whatever we're doing on tour. And then I'm like, this must be what it's like to be old.
No, except like
Because
100.
but 100 times worse.
100 times worse.
Yeah.
Like you have ailments all day. You might not have pooped for 4 days.
Whoa.
And
You know what blows my mind is the balance thing. That's what my dad has neuropathy, so that means he's losing the feeling in his feet.
Let's before we get into that.
Is that-
are you having
Ben.
another drink? Or no?
I was gonna smoke
Ben?
that weed.
Ben, oh no, Ben, no.
Ben's
It's
going
gonna be
deep.
bad.
Going in. Okay, yes, I'm gonna ease up on this. I
Weed
got a
is
little-
like cocaine for Ben,
Dude,
and cocaine is like cocaine for me.
Dude, don't rush.
Here's a fun
cocaine's
fact.
like
Nothing.
Bigfoot to
Can I
me.
tell you guys something funny? While Ben pours himself a drink, Ben,
I'm good.
pour
I'm
your
good,
drink.
I'm good.
You want to
You
cheers
don't
with
have any
that?
booze in
What?
there,
There's
dude.
I can drink. Why
Ben,
you
you're
guys
making
pressuring me?
everybody
Ben,
look
this is
terrible.
embarrassing.
Okay, all the people
Drink
out there,
together.
I'm
Don't be
being peer
scared.
pressured.
You're totally
Okay.
being peer pressured.
But it's working.
There.
This-
I know. I
you
feel
and
like
that-
if
You and that gal travel together. You gotta find a comfortable medium.
No, but who do you think's driving?
great.
Kinda.
You're not kidding.
Listen, we
I'm
have
like half
time.
kidding.
There's plenty of places to eat around here.
Hey, cheers,
We'll
guys.
work this off.
It's great to be here.
Yeah, please. Great to have
Salute.
you guys.
Yeah,
Always.
yeah.
Salute.
So
So
recently,
anyway, back to my dad's health problems.
Back to old people that are about to kick off into the next dimension.
oh boy.
Did you hear about those fucking people that they were on that ghost hunter show?
They died.
They murder-suicide.
what?
The husband killed the wife and killed himself, apparently, or
Wait.
allegedly.
In real life,
In real life.
they were on a ghost hunting
Yeah,
reality
one of those,
show.
One of those ghost hunting reality shows. Yeah.
Oh, God.
And there was like a standoff. You know, apparently there had been like some physical violence, domestic violence
Between the two
issues
of them.
between them before.
Working partnerships is.
And I think the girl was
Ben,
trying to,
we've
the woman
never-
was trying to get away from the guy, allegedly. I really shouldn't talk about this because my amount of information I
I
had
think
about
we're
the
gonna
actual,
make it.
the actual, physical case that the murder
Sure.
suicide is very small, but because I think they're still investigating it, right?
Wait,
you know the
when
story,
was
right?
this?
You posted
really,
about this,
really,
didn't you?
really recently, a couple days ago.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, terrifying. But I mean, how crazy is that? These people, you think about what a ghost hunter is. At the end of the day, besides a bullshit artist, what a ghost hunter at the end of the day, what a ghost hunter is a historian of tragedy.
Wow.
Because
poetic.
you're always involved in some story where
Do you
there was a
believe in
mass
ghosts?
murder. I don't not believe in ghosts.
I got
don't
some
believe in
crazy
ghosts,
stories, man.
but I don't not believe in ghosts. But what the idea what a ghost is, a ghost hunter is, right? If you're a person who's going to a psych ward, okay, and you're waiting in the basement for ghosts, you go into a place where people
Yeah, there's
have
some
been
fucked up
murdered.
energy there.
But yeah. But you're also constantly concentrating on murder.
Yeah, that's
Constantly.
insane.
Like for that.
And the tension involved in the expectation of a TV show, dude. If I don't come up, if it's not entertaining, we're gonna lose our job.
None of them are
All that-
entertaining, so that's not
Okay, not a
valid. They're
problem.
non-entertaining
All right, then I
shows.
get what you're
Here's every
saying.
ghost hunter show that's ever been. Night Vision in the basement. What was that sound? Did you hear that? Cut to commercial. That's every fucking
Dude,
That's
speaking of-
every one of them.
I don't know if we were speaking about frequencies earlier, but I think we maybe the singing thing. But there's a theory this dude had that low frequency sound, like crazy low, below 40 hertz, which is just like military experimented with.
Like
it, just
dog sounds, like whistles.
This is below that. Yeah, they were saying buildings that produce this kind of frequency and machinery that does this. There's a correlation between haunted houses and these places because
interesting.
this kind of frequency can induce hallucination in people, can induce really erratic behavior.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Well, no, the same with there's
What
like
a
there's
new
like love
angle.
frequency. There's the what frequency did Hitler he would
Well, there's like the
vegetarian
444.
frequency.
what is it?
Vegetarian. That was what Hitler was, right? Vegetarian.
Sure.
He was.
Sure. Was he really?
Oh
Was he?
yeah.
Damn.
Oh, yeah.
He was also an artist and he had mommy issues.
Poor guy. You feel like if you got to him early in life, you could have prevented a lot.
I think
If you met him, like when you guys were both 20.
Bruh.
we would have sang him
good.
Angel of Death and he would have been like, you know what? I feel differently about the
see it
things I was thinking about earlier.
Maybe what you gonna do now?
Oh,
Ooh.
That would have been a good
Motherfucker.
one for Hitler, right?
You love that song,
I
man.
love that
Thank
song.
you.
I love it. I love you
thanks,
guys.
Joe.
I mean, we
It's
love you.
cool to be friends with someone that you're fans
Likewise.
of. It's
But, yeah.
bizarre, you know.
Right back at
Likewise.
you, buddy.
Bizarre, you know. It's just.
We thought about you a
wanna
lot
get
when
mushy.
we were in Montana. We were in Montana for about 2 weeks.
Looking for
and,
Bigfoot.
Well, naturally,
cocaine?
yeah. And
Code.
no, it was so beautiful, but like, wilderness is everywhere, and everybody's like, if you go up here, you got to like be careful. Like we were in Wyoming, we were in Yellowstone, and we heard so many stories, so many bear stories, and things that like really freaked me out because I don't have anything to defend myself. I would like to go into nature.
You got your wits, girl.
Yeah.
Well, you're right
and
though
my
about being
anger.
cautious about nature. For the most part, the reality about animals, for the vast majority of instances, animals don't want to have anything to do with people. They want to
Right.
get the fuck away from you.
Well,
if,
that's
if
not
at
true.
All possible.
But when we were in Yellowstone, so I heard all these stories about people, like people get killed by grizzlies a few times a year, and we were in Yellowstone, and literally a week later, there was a hiker that got nabbed by a grizzly bear. It just depends on. It's like just bad timing,
It
and
is-
I never ever want to put myself in that position of that. Like I'll go camping here, that's fine. I'll go camping in like Joshua Tree.
It's bad timing in a way, but it is also a lack of an understanding of the environment for the most part with a lot of them.
Sure.
But although one of the guys that got killed recently was a very experienced hiker, so I might have to take that back. You could fuck up and zig when you should have zagged, and the biggest fear is running into a mother bear with her cubs.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Like I can appreciate nature in a way that is it's so fucking beautiful. And like we
Yeah.
drove through the park and it was incredible. But like I don't feel like I need to sleep there and like I can walk along the river by the car and I feel fine. And I know I might sound like a total fucking chotch right now, but I really like
Well, your
the thought
approach
of
is
being
intelligent.
torn apart by an
Yeah.
animal is utterly terrifying
It's
to
a
me.
very intelligent approach.
Yeah.
But there's a beautiful
Well,
thing,
thanks,
I
man.
think, about being
That
in
makes me
that
feel better.
environment and experiencing
Yeah.
that kind of caution and fear, too. You're like, holy fuck, I'm a little bit more connected now. Because, yeah, I do actually have to be wary of something threatening to me as opposed to just
You
emotionally.
know what, though? I swear when you're
wary.
there, that's not what you're thinking about. Because
that's why I was saying we thought about you,
The
like how you do
instances are
this.
so small.
Right.
And the reality of the beauty of it all, which is what the vast majority of the experience is beautiful. The vast majority. The times that I've encountered bears in the wild, bears don't want to have nothing to do with people. They want to get
Have
the
you seen
fuck-
grizzlies and stuff?
No, I have not seen grizzlies.
That's the ones I'm
but
talking about.
Those are the ones that you have to be the most
Specifically.
worried, but you just got to be prepared. If you bring guns, You know, you always have to be prepared, and you
But
always
you
have
can
to
shoot
be,
a grizzly and it'll still eat you.
But there's
you
also
have
a
to
lot
shoot
of
a
like
grizzly with the right kind of gun.
you know how to
and you have
shoot.
to have more than one person, and
Right.
you have to be ready in case that happens. But most of the time, you don't shoot them. You
Right.
shoot at the ground, and you scare them off, and they're like, "Fuck this," and they just get out of there. And then they
Sure.
go about. You can enter into the natural world in most situations and get out without having to do anything where something dies where it didn't have to die. But
Yeah.
there are occasions where, like, I know a guy who went hunting in Alaska, and they got charged by a grizzly bear and wound up having to kill the grizzly bear. You know, the grizzly bear
They were
tried to
lucky.
get at their kill. It was actually a mother. They just didn't
Oh,
want to have
man.
anything to do with her.
Mm-hmm.
But she just decided she was gonna make a rush at them. And
Yeah.
I've seen it on video too. I've seen
But that's
them
something
making
you
rushes at
accept.
people.
You-
Yeah,
You're going out to kill something in the wilderness,
yeah.
right? I mean,
you got to
that's-
pick where you go. Honestly,
That's what I'm talking about.
super dangerous to go where grizzlies are.
That's exactly what
It's
I'm
the
talking
most,
about.
Well, the most scary places.
Glacier National Park.
They used to have that show on, I don't know, it was Discovery Channel, whatever it was called The Hunt. It was the
Mm-hmm.
one where the guy from Metallica, James Hetfield from Metallica, is apparently a big time hunter, and he hunted he's hunted all over the world, and he's or at least a bunch of different species. There's all these photos of him, and he hosted this show where they were hunting for grizzly bears. It was like a really controversial show because you don't really eat grizzly bears. I mean, you can, but they do
Well,
not.
They're not endangered, but they're not
No.
doing great. You know, they're not like fucking
Sort of.
flourishing.
They know how many they should kill, and they know how many they can kill. They have like this estimation
do
that wildlife biologists just about to beat off, man.
Just loosen
Taking
it
his
up.
pants up.
Is it a problem?
Ben was taking his pants
Thought
off.
we were in the
Smoke
Eagles
the
last
Talking
weed.
about
night.
grizzlies.
I
Thought we were
knew
safe
it.
here.
But for the most part, they don't fuck with people. For the most part, they don't want to have anything to do with you. For the most part, they'd rather get away. They don't want to get shot. They just want to stay away from people.
Well, so when we were up there, you know, we're like hanging with the locals, and of course, like I'm not from those areas, so I have all these questions about what's it like out there in nature. You know, you live in Montana, and you know, we met this guy who was just, and maybe he was being dramatic, but he was telling me all these horrifying stories where I'm like, why would anyone want to put themselves in that position? And I think it's a matter of, like you said, being fully aware of the environment, having that preparation,
I
you know,
think it's
but
also the stories people tell, honestly. Like you're in that area and there's like a whole culture of bear fear and things like that. In at least in certain
In
areas.
some-
But it's just like that's what we talk about. We talk about how there's one guy who got killed in Yellowstone, but it's like I don't think it's the kind of threat. I don't know why I'm reacting so strongly to it right now, but I feel like it's not the kind of threat
it's because
that
you smoked the cocaine weed.
I don't
it's,
think so.
It's not the threat right now, right here.
Yeah.
You know, when you're
Right.
living in Los Angeles,
Right.
the grizzly bear is not the threat. But you're smart to be aware that it's on the table if you're out there.
Well, Joe, I love nature. I love to fish. Fishing is one of my greatest passions. When I have the time to do it, I fucking love it. I'm learning how to fly fish. It's really fun. And I have all these goals of these places I want to go to, but they're places that scare me. Like I don't want to be fly fishing, you know, for salmon and there's a grizzly bear across the river. Like that kind of thing is like, and that's fine. I respect that. I will stick with the area that I feel safe in because I don't have a rifle on me. I don't have Joe Rogan with his you know, acute target practice. You know what I mean? So I think about this a lot because
Well, you wouldn't want me, first of all. You'd want someone who would be teaching me.
It'd be fun.
whatever,
You'd
dude.
want someone like some of my friends that I've been lucky to be friends with to take me to the woods, like Cameron Haynes or Steve Rinella, the guy who hosts that
Oh,
Meat Eater show.
awesome. That's great.
Like
I
having
didn't
friends
know
like that, then that's the best way
Do you
to be
think they'd
introduced.
want to go fishing with me and just
yeah,
like
they would,
hang
they
out?
would take you.
I'm a lot of fun.
We've talked about that a bunch of times. Like we should do shows where take people for the first time that have never been hunting because it's such a bizarre experience. Even if you don't shoot anything, just being in the woods in Montana makes you go, oh my God. Like it makes you realize like, wow, life is it's very different than what we've accepted. We've accepted that life is cities and life is, you know, Whole Foods and life is
Well, here's the thing. Nature, if you want to talk about like going out to nature and life, nature is everywhere. Like we live in a city, but nature is everywhere. It's in the fucking middle of your sidewalk. You know, there are birds, there are crows, there are hawks. I mean, there's just so many, like it's everywhere. We live in the middle of it. coyotes, mountain lions.
Well, it's like we don't see nature a lot, so I think sometimes we look at nature like an old girlfriend that we haven't called in a long time. We only have this like really elevated idea of who she was, and then you get back with her and you realize this bitch doesn't give a fuck about me. Damn. It's like that because when you're on the top of a mountain and there's no cell phone service and there's animals creeping around, you're like, this is a fucking dangerous place to be standing
that's so
still.
funny. Yeah, it doesn't care about you.
Can I,
You know what
can
I
I
mean?
say something?
There's nothing
though?
wrong with
Doesn't
that.
give a fuck.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, but
I think
it's mean.
that that
guess.
girlfriend is here though. Like I think there's this sad misconception with the way that people treat quote unquote nature when they drive out to a national park, as opposed to when they treat their urban setting, which is there is nature here, and but people don't think about the fact that they throw their trash out the window and there's ducks in the pond right next. You know, all this
Right.
stuff. Like you're still in nature even if you're in a city. You just need to treat it that way.
Well, the idea that
you
we
know,
would look at the city as not being natural
respectfully.
itself,
Yeah.
the city not being natural itself
Oh,
is
of course.
bizarre. It's all bizarre. The throwing of litter on the ground, like when people wantonly open up their window and throw their garbage out the window on the highway. You're like, what? That guy
Yeah.
just throw a bag.
Oh man, whenever we see
on
that
the
on the
highway,
road,
like,
I
what
just
the
want to
fuck?
fucking
Yeah, it sucks.
punch him square in the
But
throat.
it's so bizarre how many
Sucks.
people do it. Well, they'll open up a window and throw a bag out. Didn't happen. And you're like, what?
Yeah,
You just threw a Wendy's bag.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
People are stupid.
or just like, but
Stop
especially
doing
like
that.
a little piece of paper, you know, like some fucking top of something, you know.
Even gum. You spit your gum
Oh,
out the window. Gum is
yeah.
really bad. Birds eat gum. They think it's like a piece of food and then
First
they
of all,
die.
fuck birds.
No.
How about that?
Listen,
They're on the
Joe.
way out.
Joe, you have
They
chickens.
are.
You
They're
love
on their way
birds.
out. They're on-
You love
No,
your
there's
farm
so many
fresh
fucking
eggs.
birds.
Listen, this
There's
is
a lot
what
of
it's
birds.
really important. If you're going to talk to me, you can't take me seriously ever.
I don't.
It's super important.
Cats are
I
killing a lot of
remember-
This
birds.
is
I
my
read that.
position.
I
My
remember
position is fuck birds.
when you told me about cats and you were like, cats are awful because they have the thing in there. They have the parasite.
Well, I didn't say it that way.
And then you
But I
have the
did tell you
cutest
about the
cats in the world,
They're
and you
pretty
love them so
adorable.
much.
I do love them. They're sweeties.
That's a cute cat.
We just heard
I got
we just heard a
couple
new
cute
cat
cats.
term called making muffins. You know when they knead.
Yeah. They're so fucking
Making
needy.
muffins.
You like that, Joe?
My
Making
kidding.
muffins.
cats are fucking needy. Yeah, I would say it's more like pizza dough.
Okay,
Yes.
that works. That works.
When you call it pizza dough,
Just looking for reaction.
Joey Diaz had the best bit about that, about doing coke with his cat, and his cat was doing that paw thing. He had this hilarious bit he used to do about doing coke with his cat. But I'm looking out one window, he's looking out the other one. Oh, so I'm
Cats
so
are kind of
psyched.
freaking out a lot of the time. I think I kind of see that.
You know what? They're nature's cleanup crew, man. And the only reason you're alive is because you're way bigger than them. That's it. If you're smaller than a cat, it would fucking eat you. You could have a dog and a pet gerbil. And you could teach that dog to not fuck that gerbil up.
Yeah.
You could teach that dog, hey, dude, listen to me, man. The gerbil, off the menu. And the dog would be like, got it. Don't kill the gerbil. Gerbil's
I want it
family.
really badly,
You know?
but it's
How do you
fine.
think dogs are with cats? Like, if dogs grow up with cats, they're totally cool with
I
them.
don't know,
But if
man.
they don't grow up with cats, they're fucking dangerous as shit around them. They'll kill cats all the time, right? So they make these
But are you
distinctions.
saying cats can't get there?
Cats won't make the
We don't- who
agreement.
knows? We
Cats,
don't
they
know.
No,
I don't
we
know.
do
I mean,
know.
what do
Try
you
having
mean?
a pet rat and a cat in the house. Leave. Watch what happens.
I know, okay.
You're
I've
gonna
never-
come home
never
to a
tried
dead
that.
rat.
Joe,
And
when
the
did you
cat's
have a-
gonna be like, I don't know,
When
man.
did you have a pet
Okay.
rat, Joe, and you did the test with your cats? I want to know.
I've never had a pet rat, but I do know that cats, other than like a few breeds of like super fluffy Persians that get to that weird
Yeah, nice ones.
non-aggressive state, they're just these weird.
They're just bred to cuddle.
Yeah, they're genetic aberrations. Cats are fucking predators. They're predators.
It's
They're
amazing.
ruthless.
But, then you see these videos of like huge African lions in like these reserved areas of Africa snuggling with the guys that work there.
Yeah,
I've
they're
seen it
getting nicer.
on YouTube.
It can happen. If
Christian the
they're fed-
lion. Damn.
If they're fed well and they're taken care of well
Yeah.
and they're raised well,
That's
it's
fair.
very obvious that there's some guys that know how to make
if
a
they're
friendship
hungry,
with a lion.
You're starting to look fucking tasty.
but it's not that much different than the idea of a wild dog. Like there was a few instances, like I think there was one where a couple was killed in Georgia. I want to say it was like a couple of years ago, by wild dogs. There was a pack of wild dogs that killed these people because people had let their dogs loose and the dogs just never came home, or maybe they didn't feed them, and they became feral, or they were raised outside.
We've
I
seen
read
that
about coyotes
in the South.
attacking someone, a woman in Canada, a singer, a musician.
Yes. She was,
You told us about that, Joe.
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she was
Ben,
killed.
You didn't read about that. Joe told us.
You might have read about it after I told you about
We
it.
thought
so
about that.
probably.
We stayed at a winery on Saturday night. Actually, Joe, it was a really sweet Rogan fan. This fella that was like, you guys need a place to stay after the show, and of course we do. You know, you gotta save
so
money.
there's photos of you guys naked online now.
Truth.
While you were
Probably.
sleeping.
We have never been naked.
Everyone's
We
gonna.
always keep it on.
We're never nudes.
That's great.
Never nudes, man.
If you just operate
Under-
like that,
Under
no
my
one has
underwear are
nothing on
jean
you.
shorts.
No
nothing
sex, no
crazy going on
fun.
down there.
Don't talk and you never say the wrong shit. Trust me, it's the way to go.
Oh, boy. Play it safe, guys. Play
No
it safe.
talking, always dressed.
But we all slept in this fucking RV and it was awesome. But there were like coyotes.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was amazing. But you can hear they were right outside.
Yeah.
And it was so loud, and they had this incredible like, yip, 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 yip. You know, it's funny. But I honestly
makes it
I
feel
thought
good.
about that story about that singer that you told us about the girl that
It's
was
terrifying.
hiking. It's
But we got to
terrifying.
pack on the road. We got to pack. They're not gonna fuck with us.
I would tackle
much
coyotes
trouble.
for you, Ben.
You wouldn't even
The
have
real-
to.
I carry a taser on me most times and a knife.
No, you left it in the car, like in a really weird exposed place yesterday.
Okay, let's
like,
not talk
I said,
about.
Sorry,
It was one time, dude.
taser lying on the fucking seat, almost zapped myself.
First
You
of
just
all, you have
can't-
to turn it on properly, so you're fine.
Maybe you left it on. I don't know.
I didn't.
You can't be alone.
Well, that's it.
I thought we were on
Yeah.
the same team.
I mean, you can be alone on the same team, but
She's talking about the taser thing. Sorry. Yeah, if you're alone, they're gonna say, "Okay, there's a weakness here. We can exploit it. We're gonna fucking do this."
and the girl apparently was really small. She was like less than 100 pounds. And they just,
That's insane.
that is
and they were
terrifying.
like, we could do this. We could just fucking do
That's
this.
so
and they
fucking
did.
scary.
They did. Killed her.
We watch a lot of Planet Earth
Oof.
in the car in our travels, and you know, there's it's
I'm still thinking about it.
No, it's tough. Do you think that the way that you think about that stuff has changed now that you have kids? It's like, oh fuck.
It's just
different-
accelerated, but it was always there. It was always bizarre to me how dangerous the natural world is.
Yeah.
And how it's right
well,
there.
and how dangerously we fuck with it. You
Yeah.
know, like we manipulate shit. Like I
Word.
said, I'm from Ohio, and this is fucked up. Check this shit out.
Okay.
In the Cleveland Metro Parks, where I'm from and where my family resides, there's obviously a deer population that's out of control, like a lot of places, and people get sick of hitting them with their cars. So they thought it was a good idea to bring coyotes in to deplete the deer population,
Oh,
which they're not
no.
native to that area. So there's coyotes in Ohio now, which is so fucking weird.
So
It's not
dumb.
natural. And like, you know, people start losing their dogs, and they had like they don't think about those things. And I
what a
remember hearing
crazy
a story
thought.
of
Who
a
did that?
of a, I don't know. I couldn't tell you, but a good family friend of ours was telling the story that her young children were playing in the backyard, as they always did, and she looked outside the window and she said there were 2 coyotes in their tree line, and she ran outside, and they're like, her little kids were just playing there. But people aren't used to that.
God.
You know, it's not like you live in Montana and you know that there's bears there and you know that there's wolves. It's like this new introduction of people
Predators.
manipulating with nature, and it's not cool, man.
Well, there was a lot of times people were trying to right wrongs. Like that's what they were trying to do with the wolf population, trying to right the wrongs, because they did poison wolves. There used to be more wolves. But I'm not exactly sure if you really want to be safe and you really want to have a city and civilization. I don't think you want a large population of wolves. I think it's probably super important if you
Yeah.
want to keep this whole people thing going on at the
Well,
level
but
it's
they-
going
but
on now,
they-
where we can get new Samsung phones every 6 months.
Oh my
I
God.
really
Yeah,
don't
keep
think
that
we can
going.
keep these fucking wolves around.
Keep
Like
that
this
going.
shit is the whole reason why we invented cities in the first
But
place.
remember-
These city people forgot.
Did you ever see
Like,
that
"Look at the
video
wolves."
about how wolves changed the
Yellowstone Park.
the rivers?
Yeah.
Like they do serve a purpose, Joe.
Yeah, but the purpose is an odd one. The purpose is that of a predator, like like this idea that
Everyone's
one
has their
form
role.
of balance, but not necessarily, because you don't want lions in L.A. Okay, you just don't.
But there are.
But there's
Mountain
not
ones.
But no, but they're cougars. They're smaller. They're more scared. But a large lion, like a 600-pound lion. Like, what if a few of them started living in L.A. and we're like, hey, we have to deal with it, man. You know, what if they eat skateboarders? We would have to like accept the fact
that's fine. You can eat
that
the skateboarders.
they're a natural part of nature. They have to eat too. But fuck that. We would kill those lions. Okay, we would kill them all. If a lion ate your friend. Okay, if you came home one day and a lion was eating Ben, what kind of an attitude do you think you'd have towards that lion? You'd be very upset with him.
Well, can we get a little more detail on the scenario because
this is what happened.
Like
we
if
got
it were just
some
a flesh
crazy
wound.
hippie president that decided to the only way for us to have total compassion is to open up the borders to all plants and animals.
I'm just trying
And
to
he
work on the
filled
balance
world
here.
with
I'm not an
predators,
extremist.
Coyotes everywhere you look, killing kids, too many kids. Fuck it, we have to be a part of the solution. And he just brought in predators to take out people.
Up to date are you on Terminator?
Oh my God. We should end this podcast right now. That would be the perfect way to end it. I'm not at all. I've missed the boat.
Come
We
on.
can fill you in on 1 and 3 if you're interested.
Well, there's a new one.
Couldn't find 2 anywhere.
Which one is the new
No,
one?
is it just Blu-ray?
The new one just
New
came
one's not out yet, right?
It's not out yet?
I don't know. I
No,
live
I thought it
I live
already
in
happened.
I don't know.
a large
Did it
I think
happen?
there's
city.
5 of them.
I think Khaleesi from Game of Thrones is in it.
I heard.
What?
Khaleesi.
Sarah
Oh, wow. That really pretty girl, the mother of dragons?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Wow. Powerful. I'm not on speaking terms with the Terminator. But the problem is I could go back and watch those movies.
Yeah.
There's a lot of movies I need to watch.
Yeah.
But what would really bothers me about the Terminator movie in particular is that we might have like real Terminators.
That's what we're talking about, dude. That's why I
Within
wanted to bring up the topic.
50 years.
Yeah,
It
you
might be
know-
a real problem.
Yeah, people are talking about it.
Elon
We're talking
Musk,
about it.
Elon Musk, Bill Gates,
Yeah.
Did you hear about that?
Stephen Hawking.
They signed this letter to be like, we cannot have AI in on. But it's weird because they signed this letter. We can't have autonomous weaponry.
Right. Oh, Jesus.
And then, but they're also, at least Elon Musk is, but a bunch of these guys are investing in AI. So
Well,
it's
they
like, how are you
wanna be
drawing that
ahead of it,
line?
Because they probably want to be ahead of it,
But
first of all.
yeah,
And if you're in the tech business,
hedging their bets.
but if you're in the business, like if you look at, I mean, I'm just assuming that if you're a tech guy, like part of what it is about innovation at its highest form.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's innovation at its highest form other than artificial intelligence?
Yeah.
It's like the highest form of innovation.
Sure.
The creating of a life, of some sort of a
Uh-huh.
sentient being out of plastic and
Yeah, it's
metal
crazy.
and
All
When
this
it's
shit
the
is
same-
crazy. 3D printing, like
What's the same discussion as the 3D printing stuff? This dude, Cody Wilson, came out and was like, I'm going to print guns because someone's going to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then so you look at it and you say, well, it's something that we can't change. If it's something we can't change,
so
then what is
where
it?
are we gonna put our bunker?
Oh God.
Anyway, we're tiring
Woman.
Joe. Joe's
Joe's
No,
yawning.
it's just I'm terrified.
it's scary.
That made
Do
me
you
yawn. I
yawn
was
when
so
you're
scared.
scared?
Yeah, I got so scared I yawned.
Bullshit.
No, it's not that I'm tired of hearing about it. I said scared.
No,
I'm
it's
scared of
crazy.
it.
It
I
is.
think society we hang on a string all the time, and we keep fixing that string. We're really good at keeping the string going, but we assume that the string has to stay, and we know that that's not really true, and that's why we love movies about where the string breaks. And Mad Max, like,
Yeah.
shit got crazy.
Yeah.
Where's the water? Fuck. You know, there's no law. There's no rule. You have
Yeah.
to fight to the death. I mean, it's Barstow. You know,
Oh, it's the
That's-
worst.
If you go to Barstow right
Sorry
now,
to say that.
it's fenced it in for 10 years. It would be Thunderdome. You know?
Damn.
I mean,
God.
there's spots where you can manipulate, cut them off to the rest of the world, and they would be like that.
And there's
like,
places that are like that now. We keep saying that. You know, go to Africa. We got to go to Africa, Joe.
I think
But
if you
there's-
went to Africa, I go, there's parts of Africa that are probably crazier.
Exactly. There's a great Vice piece on this place in Monrovia in Liberia where it's
Yeah.
just like it's a total wasteland. People are shitting in the streets. The governor or some high political official came down and shat on the beach just to be like, I'm one of the people.
Oh
You know,
my
like this is how
God.
we're
No,
doing
it's-
it.
it's a-
That's what he did?
Yeah.
To,
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
to get votes?
Well, was that before Ebola broke out? Because it was like people that was part of the like
Shitting caused
that was
Ebola?
the well, yeah, it's all the unsanitary conditions and stuff. People living in filth. That's part of it. I don't know if that's but you know, I really feel fucking really strongly about this.
Dope, right?
Do we?
I was
What
just
is-
looking at the clock.
You're
Point
pointing
at
at
the clock is dope.
Okay.
You really feel strongly.
About, we're talking about like hanging by a string and stuff like that, and oh God, the government sucks and all this stuff, and all this is true. There's you could click a button and just kill a lot of people, but at the end of the day, while we're here, there's some really beautiful things to experience, like your shows, comedy shows, and you make people
How
feel
dare
good.
you. What
And
about
well,
flowers? What about
flowers
waterfalls?
are beautiful. I'm
Don't lie to
fucking
these
going down the
people.
list here. Let me have my moment. And there's all these incredible things, and something that we get to see on the road. Like we'll have like our scheduled Honey shows where you buy your tickets, and then occasionally we'll have these really cool opportunities to play like concert series that like small towns will have, where they have no idea who we are, which is awesome because we went to this town in Dillon, Colorado, where literally like I would say maybe 10% of the people were there to see us, but the rest of the people were there because they lived in the town and they wanted to have their entertainment for the night. And so there was all these different people. There were like really young families and really old people, and they all brought their lawn chairs and beers, and we were in this outdoor amphitheater on this lake. There's, I don't know, like 500 or 600 people there, something like that. And it was such a cool experience because there was this collective experience of all these people that came together for whatever they needed at the time. That wasn't like, it wasn't about us. We were offering what we could to the situation. But at the end of the day, it was really beautiful because it was all these people that were having this experience together in their own way. And it was different races, demographics, and like it was just we had this moment, and it was really cool. And I think right now when the world is in this really funny place that's really scary, and we can put energy into how scary it is and all that stuff, but we can also put energy into these experiences together where we're trying to figure it out, and like that, I think that's really important.
Yeah, I think most of what people are fighting over has nothing to do with most of the people.
Yeah.
Most of the people in the world, that what do we want to do? We want to just hang out with our friends, go to dinner.
Yeah.
We don't want to take over the oil fields. Most of the people just want to have a good time. Most of the people. There are a few people who like really want to push that whole making money envelope to the point where we want to invade countries.
Sure.
And that's 90% of what's wrong with us. It's not most of us. Most of us, and I think this is what we're able to do now that we weren't able to do before, is most of us can talk to each other. We can, like you can get whatever your message out, whatever your message is out in a way that you've never been able to do before. So if you want to do it in a song, if you want to do it with an ebook, like you can get your message out.
A poem?
A poem? Don't tell anybody it's a poem. Tell them it's a rap song. I love you. Brownie points if you're white.
Oh my God.
Right? But I think... I mean, this is the best time ever. Like, people that say, oh, the world's falling apart. No, I don't. Damn it. I think it's always been fucked because it's filled with people. Like, the world's always been fucked. But guess what? People are fucked, and we're the best things on earth. Okay?
Yeah.
Turtles
No,
can
it's
suck
true.
it.
It's like
damn.
it's like as light as it is
bunch
dark.
of turtles, you'd want to fucking kill yourself inside a week. If there was a million living
How do you
beings on this
commune with
island,
the turtles,
I was
Joe?
one with these
You
beings.
would commune with them.
Please, you'd shoot yourself right in the face. If I gave you two bullets, one of them was for the turtle that you were going to kill to stay alive for the first day, and the second one you're going to put right in your fucking mouth.
Damn.
You're like, I'm not living with turtles for the rest of my life. Not doing it.
How do you
What did the
prepare
turtles do to you,
turtle?
Joe?
Do you have sriracha?
You just boil
I
it.
need to know.
You just have to bang rocks together to light up dry leaves.
Wow,
gotta
you
get
thought
the
about this.
You're gonna have to
Think
cook
about
it
it
just
now.
to make sure you kill the parasites. It's gonna taste terrible.
My God.
That's a pretty awesome thing, that
Yeah.
food tastes so good. If you're talking about the context of things, how the world's changed, shit didn't taste this good.
No,
It tastes too good a lot of the times.
Food is
and we
an
get
art form now. Like, there's some art forms that have probably been around for a long time with food, right? Like a lot of dishes, like
There's some. I mean,
ethnic dishes,
we've
right?
started to do some work with Farm Aid, which has been really cool, and learned a lot about the whole fucking structure of, corporate food, literally, like all the hormonal shit. And, you're fine. I mean, you've got your like moose and bear in your freezer. Like your meat section is covered.
Delicious.
Glad you guys enjoyed it.
It's so good. But the majority of the food that people eat in their grocery stores, you go to Safeway or you go to fucking Piggly Wiggly, that shit is
Piggly
toxic.
Wiggly, damn.
That shit is awful. It is god fucking awful.
I don't think
and it
it's
will
that
give you
bad.
cancer.
I don't think it's that.
Joe.
Honestly, here's the thing about meat. Like, it's just
How
like
often do you eat that
protein
shit?
and water.
If you ate that every day, your shit would be fucked up. You'd be like, why do I have
not
acne all of a
convinced.
sudden? You would freak out.
I'm not convinced. I don't know. Because this is the only reason why I'm saying this.
But it's a shitty protein.
Well, I don't know
Right?
if it is or it isn't. See, I don't
Okay.
understand.
I can see that.
I just want to be honest about it.
Yeah.
I don't know like what you actually get off of a piece of meat. It seems to me like logically I am attracted to like a darker, richer meat because I feel like it'll be a healthier animal, a more
And
vibrant
logically
animal.
and sensually too. There's something biologically being like, no, this is better.
But then
Yeah.
that's why it's counterintuitive because like a lot of the like really fatty cuts of meat are the ones that people enjoy the most.
You're right.
Like that's why they like that wagyu, how you say it?
I don't
The
know.
Japanese version of beef where they
But wait. Are
fatten
you
them
talking
up.
about fatty versions of meat that have been processed to be
No,
that
the
way?
idea
Or?
that the
The
animals,
appeal.
it's not, there's the appeal. Like, why would
Sure.
they? I guess it was because like fats have always been super important because it was hard to get food.
Yeah,
So
and they
when-
help you digest
yeah.
too. They do a lot of shit.
But it also like you really wanted like the attraction to things that have a lot of calories. Like that was one of the most important things when people are starving to death all the
Yeah.
time.
Well,
you
and-
had to get that fat.
Yeah.
You know, like fat was important.
Yeah, and big was like key. Big was
Yeah.
like, we got to be big. But
Right.
now, it just shows you how these things change. Now, bigger is kind of fucking us over.
Well, you know
it's
what's
like overconsumption. Blah, blah,
People
blah.
are just so big now, too. Like, there was a thing on TV the other day about a kid who's a senior in high school. He's the biggest football player ever.
Whoa.
And he's a senior in high school.
Like-
he's
How-
7 feet tall,
Oh my God.
440 pounds.
Holy shit.
And he's 17 years old.
Jesus.
That's incredible.
It's insane. Like, we're going to go right to the fucking moon. We're going to scrape the moon with our heads. Then we're going to just keep getting bigger.
That's
People are going to be
insane.
too big.
That's
people
insane.
They're gonna run out of oxygen and start dying because they're gonna pass through. They're gonna get to a point 1,000 years from now where
I
1,000.
would like
keep
to
us-
know more about that kid's diet and like what kind of supplements he's taking and stuff like that.
Right. What did he eat?
If it was some crazy lightning strike of like natural phenomenon, that would be incredible. And I'm totally open to that. But there's so many things like, like with processed meats, like girls are getting their periods at 11.
Are they though?
Yeah. I mean, that
who's
shit is
skeptical,
fucked
dude?
up.
Who's skeptical
What
about this
creepy
stuff?
fucking guy standing there with a clipboard? Have you started to bleed yet?
Oh my
Margaret? Margaret, let me see your panties.
Oh my God, Joe.
Where do they
You
keep
know?
Margaret?
Who is this guy that's asking these fucking period questions?
well, I
It
think
better
there's
not be a guy.
doctors.
It better be a woman. I hope you have a woman doctor that's not a fucking creep.
God, I hope it's not some creepy. You know what's
Some
funny?
creep.
The
You know that
first
dude
time,
in
the
San
first
Diego that got
time.
arrested today?
No.
Well, he got sentenced to. This is a terrible story. This guy got sentenced to only 1 year of house arrest, and he pleaded guilty to fucking 8 of his patients while they were under.
Oh, man. Kill Bill in it.
Oh, that's terrible.
He only got a year of house arrest.
That's horrifying.
That's
People
really
people
fucked
thought
up.
he was going to get 20 years. They thought
What's
he was,
his name and
I don't know.
social security
I don't,
number?
I don't even want to. You'll Google it.
Let's find him.
It's
Wow.
awful. It's
I was gonna.
That's a
I was
twisted
gonna
dude. He's
say talk about an inappropriate story, but I'm not.
Oh, too late.
Like the
Great.
first. Okay, fuck.
Here we go.
The first time I had like a gynecology thing
Holla.
when I was like 18, and it was a male doctor, and he was so hot that I like did not know what to do with myself. I remember being like,
Wow.
so.
Why don't you?
Wow, that's a scene in a porn.
It really was incredible.
I had my pelvis zapped with an electric needle by a beautiful dermatologist.
Not the same thing.
On that note,
But what if the
I'll be
guy
back.
did the guy look at it and give you a thumbs up? That's when it would have been really weird.
No, you should tell them about that.
About what? The guy wasn't
Wait a
there.
minute, I can't.
I wasn't there.
I can't accept while you are still in the building. She's gonna go to the restroom. she might not want to talk about
You
that.
hear that?
That
No,
might
she
be how
started
she's
it,
trying to
dude.
get out of it.
Good
We
point.
can't hold her to the fire.
That's true.
It's a vagina thing.
That's
If
considerate.
a girl's talking a story about a vagina, you have to either it comes or it doesn't come. You can't like go, come on, what happened to your pussy?
They don't love that? I think she'll love it.
They get mad.
Yeah.
What happened? Come on.
Well, that's kind of weird.
What happened?
Joe, what's up with your dick? What's up with your cock?
Why is your dick happy? Or no?
Oh, boy.
So you're having a dick problem?
What's the deal?
The dick problem
Dick
that like
problems are
old
terrible,
people
dude.
get, or the dick problems that pedos get? What kind of dick problem we talking about here, fella?
I had a Band-Aid on my dick once.
Vaginas are infinitely more
have to
sensitive to
talk about it.
criticism. You know, like you can make a joke about a dude having a stinky dick, but if you make a joke on stage about a woman's malodorous vagina,
Sure.
you will be a terrible person. They won't have anything to do with you, even if you're telling a true story. If you did tell us a true story about a woman's stinky vagina, you would have to like really word it well.
You feel like it's a double standard?
Yes, I do. But it's
Let's
a right,
work
it's
away,
a good one.
dude. You got to start doing it. You got to lead the
See,
charge.
This is my thing. I don't think necessarily that all double standards are there because of inequality. I
Okay.
think some double standards are there because we want to quantify things instead of just looking at them as being completely different.
Sure.
You tell a dude
Like
his
etiquette.
dick stinks, and he goes, "All right, I'll wash it."
But also, why,
You
like,
tell a
it's really
woman.
got to be serious if you're
Yes.
not up close to it and you.
It might be
a
stinky as
stink.
fuck. It's very possible for your
What
dick.
the fuck are you guys
If you're
talking
You
lazy,
can help us with this.
you don't clean your dick. It's very possible your dick could be stinky as
Sure,
fuck.
sure.
The difference
Are we talking
is
about uncircumcised penises? What
I
are we-
mean,
I'm
no,
sorry,
no,
I
not
just got back from the
necessarily.
bathroom.
stinky dicks versus stinky vaginas. That a man saying a woman's vagina is stinky is like a terrible thing to do. It's like there is a double standard because it is different. It's a
What's
But maybe it
it's a
needs to
different
be said,
experience.
you know, like-
It's a more powerful statement.
to
When
a woman?
Yes, because if you tell a dude that his dick stinks, he goes, Psh, all right, I'll wash my dick. Like, that's it. You know, once you wash your dick, it's clean. It's not going to
I think
continue
some
to
dudes will
stink.
freak out about it. They'll be like, what do you mean? What's wrong with
Those
me?"
guys are babies. Most guys are just going to wash their
Sure,
dick.
okay, you're right,
But
wash
for
the
a
dick.
woman, you're dealing with an internal flora issue,
Ah.
right? That's
Sure.
That's
I
the
mean-
issue of having any sort of a yeast infection. It's actually like it's life forms
they're
living
fighting-
in your cooter. That's
What's the
way
same
more
with
deep.
Same with dudes. I mean,
uncircumcised
doesn't your
You got-
diet affect the smell of your jizz?
I've been thinking about
Potency?
that for the last
Am I wrong?
hour.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
hoping-
Well, we know it affects the smell of your pee, right? If you eat
Sure.
asparagus, you can smell your asparagus while you're peeing. I gotta assume that makes it into your cum as well.
Oh, yeah.
It only makes
Yeah.
sense.
No, I think
Wow,
fruits,
I go to the
there's a
bathroom
lighter-
for like 2 minutes.
You brought up the gynecologist.
I did.
All right,
Soon
so
as-
don't go
As soon
throwing
as
that
Ben
around.
and I
You're
were
right.
locking eyes with each other, it just we went
Do you
right
guys
into
want
the
me to go pee
toilet.
again?
Felt that too.
We went right into the toilet, started talking about stinky dicks.
That did happen. Fuck, that is not the direction I like for us, Joe. You know,
Look, dude, it is what it is. It
You're
is
right.
what it is.
Live with it.
It's a funny thing, but
Do you know-
I just think that's why it's funny. It's like it's ruder for some whatever biological reason. It's ruder for a man to mock a woman's stinky vagina in a cruel fashion.
Do you think that's
as
out
a
of
woman.
insecurity? I think that's like a degrading thing that you want to like, just sort of devalue a woman's
Maybe
special place.
it's very possibly, but it's also equally negative on the other side when a woman mocks a man
His
for
dick.
having a tiny dick. Ooh,
It's not the size of the
Well,
dog.
that is actually-
I swear by that.
lies. But
No,
keep
that's not
going.
true. Honestly,
but
some
that's
of
not
hold
the
on,
point.
but a
That's not the point
micro
he's making.
dick. If a guy has a
I need
micro
to
dick,
shut my mouth.
if a guy has a little tiny dick, like there's guys that have like micro dicks like that, and inch long.
Microcac.
And if
Like
a
a chode?
woman is like,
Like a full-on chode.
Joe, what are you about?
a tiny one, like a little one, I'm saying like a little terrifyingly small little dick. And if someone mocks that,
Well, what if he's really funny?
well, that'll help, but it's less offensive to make fun of a stinky pussy than it is to make fun of that, because I think a stinky pussy you
Can
can
be
clean
cleaned.
up. That's right.
What?
That's
Count
right.
it.
All you need is
Count
some
it.
acidophilus in your life, girl.
Questions
All you
answered.
need is some wild kimchi. You know, you need some raw foods.
Damn.
Take care of your flora.
I hope
That's
that my
beautiful.
mom and dad never listen to this podcast.
Mom,
They probably will. They've been
listen,
mentioned on it.
Mom,
now.
you know
They've
what's
been
up.
mentioned on
These
it.
chairs are fucking dope, dude.
They're not bad. They're very good.
They really do
Ergo,
help with the posture.
Ergo Depot. Shout
Yeah.
out to Ergo Depot. They sent it to us. I was skeptical at first because I had one before that. It was like
we're all-
super uncomfortable. It was like one of those knee ones where you go on your knees. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep,
Like
I
you,
do.
you're
No, that's not
you're on
bad.
your butt in some sort of a
That's-
weird way, and you go on your knee.
Tough to get used to.
But they do make you keep a good posture.
Yeah.
And then I got this other one that was like a saddle. But then this dude from
Mm.
Ergo Depot hollered at me online.
That's awesome.
And he said those are not good for long term. If like you're
Yeah.
sitting at a desk for a long period of time, you
Huh.
need something like this. And he sent it to me, and I was like, but it looks like a regular chair. And then you sit in it and you go, oh, shit. It's called a Capisco. That's what it's called. You sit in it and you go, oh, yeah, I have perfect fucking posture.
Well, it's really
Look at
interesting how
me.
they've done all these studies on your posture, like
On your posture.
yours
Dude.
specifically, Joe.
Rogan's posture.
News grenade.
It's a
People
mess.
are watching you and listening. But like the way your body language expresses you, like there's certain
do you mean?
chemicals. Like
Don't get
there-
crazy.
There were studies like
me just pull
if you
something.
sit like this, there's this like power stance.
That's
where,
the
like,
dick forward.
Sure.
It's
Where-
called the
where-
dick forward.
is it? Are you
That's
just
what
being?
no, when guys are.
you-
So I go. I put my feet up on the desk and I go dick forward.
No, I'm not even
It's
joking.
like guitar too.
That's like a
Sometimes
move.
It's,
It's
either
like
above
a-
the dick.
it's like a
or
horse
below the
dance.
dick.
But if
Never
you were to
cover the
sit like,
dick.
Oh, that's
cover
is
the
that
dick.
true? Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Wait,
I
really?
didn't-
Yeah, it's the
Why did I
first
not
guitar
know
lesson.
that? Why did I
You're
not
so
know
full of
that?
shit.
What do you
No, he's
mean?
being serious.
Sure.
You're serious.
Yeah.
I'm going with
I
it.
mean, sometimes
serious
you
or
cover
not,
your dick.
it's serious now.
so dick
Don't sell me
forward,
down the river, Ben. Let me have this
dick
dream.
forward, or
Dick
why don't we all
forward.
just fucking sit back? But if you
Well,
sat
dick
like
forward,
this,
especially if a guy has like maybe some sort of an alligator skin cowboy boots
Ooh.
on, and he puts his feet down on the ground
Or
in
there's
some
a
sort of an
desk.
office chair. You know what I'm saying? Some sort
it's
of a
just,
risky
like,
environment.
straight up.
And then puts his hands behind his head, leans back, and goes, "Well, how
So-
much do you like this job?"
No,
Let
but,
me know
but
right now.
literally,
I'm about to go dick forward.
there's
Hold
like
on, hold on,
there's like
y'all.
chemicals released from that physical position. Like you're fucking like shit's going on for you. Like you're getting more powerful by sitting like that.
like Thor,
I can feel it.
like Thor with his hammer.
Yeah, you're just like Thor.
Well,
Hammer's
don't
out.
they say that about smiles, right? That like when you smile, it
Fake
actually
it till you make it, dude.
it actually has an effect on your brain. It like gives you a certain amount of happiness. Now, my problem with that,
Or mean it.
I think mean it's possible.
Yeah, that's great.
Let's not sell ourselves so short.
Yeah, that's much
fake
better
it.
that
How
way.
about fake it till you mean it?
Oh damn.
Oh shit.
That's so beautiful.
Oh my
I
god,
just
we have
teared
to
up.
sing a song. We went deep. We went deep.
Was it even that
We
good? I
went
don't
deep.
know.
No, definitely not that good. People at home
We
are
gave it
going,
the
"What
support,
the
though."
fuck?"
That's a fucking t-shirt that we should sell. Fake it till
Fake
you
it
mean
till
it.
you mean it.
That's
Boom.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, we're just
Yeah, let's make some
enabling
money, dude.
sociopaths. Have no emotions. Pretend you do. They'll grow.
Yeah.
They'll grow. Water them with the tears of others.
Oh my god.
Here's Honey
Yeah.
Honey with their fucking new hit.
Your
That was a
tears
poem.
taste delicious.
Yeah, this is a slam poem. It's even worse than a regular poem.
Have you ever been
I'm
to
gonna say it in a voice that's not mine. Always here and always on time. Top of the mountain, bottom of the gully. I've been here before my friend Sully.
Didn't even have to rhyme, dude.
No, it was good. You
That's the problem.
blended
In
strong.
I come from a
Express.
strong immigrant background with a very good work ethic. You got to make some shit rhyme if you want to call it a poem. All right, you can't just say a bunch of shit. The lightning hits the thunder. I'm on the street. Why is
I
it
never
wet?
thought about
I
it
don't
that way.
know.
I never
My
thought about it
father
that.
doesn't love me as much as he loves his new wife. As I get in my car, and I wish my tire wasn't flat, but it is. Deal with it. I can't. I try.
I'm like, dude,
I
you're
move
casting
on.
a spell on me.
My alarm wakes up. I wish my life was that interesting. Back to the grind.
Wow, I don't
We got
even.
a second one.
It was a
It's still going.
and then I light my cigarette. And everybody.
Yeah, but
they
you
give me a golf
and
clap.
then
you
you
just
have one-
captured us, dude. You captured us.
Then you have
Yeah, but
one
I'm in-
single tear that's just like You light your cigarette and this one single tear, and everyone's like,
Can you
oh
fake
my
cry,
God.
Joe? Can
Everyone
you-
has a boner.
As an
No.
in your acting days,
No,
could you?
but I cry like a bitch, man. I'll fucking cry. People get mad at me because I cry so easy, but I don't cry for sad things. I'm a weird person in that way.
Oh, you cry for
I
happy
cry
things?
for like powerful things.
That's fucking
That
awesome.
makes sense.
Like sad things make me really sad, but I mean I can absolutely cry from them, but a lot of times like involuntary tears come from really happy things. Like
That's beautiful.
Like I'll be talking to somebody on the pod, like Ronda Rousey when she was in here.
Oh, I
I was
love
talking to her
her.
about her dad, and her dad committed suicide, man. And this chick that she was fighting in her last fight
Oh, I saw it.
said something that she interpreted as like she might kill herself like her father. And whether or not that was exactly what that girl meant, it didn't matter because that's what Rhonda saw, and that's what and then she went out there and beat the shit out of that girl, and I was like,
That
whoa.
was fucking crazy.
But it was so crazy. It was like this weird moment in history. There was like this like I had this feeling for a minute that I was in this place that there's going to be a point in time. It didn't matter if the girl wasn't the right opponent for her. Like it didn't matter whether the girl was like in her league. What it was what had happened in this country, where this chick had come overseas and just beat the fuck out of this girl on pay-per-view. And it's a girl. And then, like, so you have this crazy sport that everybody resists. Like, oh, my God, it's barbaric. It's masculinity. It's the most toxic left. The biggest star is a hot chick. The biggest stars, sweat this. The biggest star in the craziest, most violent sport the world has ever known is a beautiful woman who's highly skilled, who is a living Charlie's Angels movie, who flies to other continents to beat the fuck out of bitches. I mean, we're talking about a girl.
That's her job.
A girl who, if she decided to starve herself, she could easily be a model, right? She's beautiful. Instead, she chooses to get in a metal tube, fly to South America, and beat the fuck out of some chick on pay-per-view. And when you're there and you watch that happen, and you watch this paradigm-shifting moment, like for me, I was like, whoa.
Did you cry?
Oh, I almost did then. I almost did when I was interviewing her, and a tear leaked out a little bit when I had her on the show, and I talked about it.
Yeah.
But I almost cried when I was talking to Conor McGregor. I was talking to Conor
Oh, that
McGregor
guy.
after he beat Chad Mendez when I was talking about Ireland.
Oh my!
And
Wait,
all these
wait,
Irish
Joe.
people in
That
the
was
audience.
the show, Ben, in Vancouver.
I'm not
You
sure.
guys were in Vancouver while it was happening?
Wait, he fought. The guy was from
Chad Mendez?
from California, wasn't
Yes, yes.
he? We literally, Joe. We watched that show from a sports bar. We didn't know who was coming to our show in Vancouver, and I said to Ben, I was like, "I'll bet a bunch of people from this bar are coming to our show." And it was weird because it wasn't a market that we're really, it's prevalent in. And I'm not even joking you. Like 95% of the people that were at that show were Rogan fans, and they were watching that fight. So it was weird. Like I
You'd be amazed at how many parallels there are. Like we all have these prejudices against people. Like people that would be into like MMA wouldn't be into like your kind of music. But you're totally wrong. We're all totally wrong. We're all scared. We're all like, we were talking about earlier about like the natural world. We're all like terrified of all the dangers of like, when people didn't have the internet and they didn't know who the people were that were coming in boats.
Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah.
yeah.
We have less and less to fear. We're more and more like each other, and we've realized that more and more on a daily basis.
Sure.
So like when the mergings of our sort of fans is like perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Like
Oh, it's
universally, the people that I introduced to you, I don't want to blow you guys up, but universally they love you. I mean, you guys are awesome. It's not like I go,
Vice
hey,
versa,
these guys
man.
suck, but they're cool, they're fun to hang out with.
Uh-huh.
No, if I tell you I love them, like I'm telling you, these guys, there's something going on. And if it's
But you're telling people that in your community a lot of the time they're really open people too. You know what I mean? That plays a big
we
role.
didn't think we could be. We all thought that we like had issues with each other. We were all thought like that somehow or another you couldn't be athletic and also like books. Nobody wanted to talk to you about those books.
Sure.
You couldn't be into documentaries but also be into martial arts. You couldn't do that. You couldn't do that because you were either like a meathead or you were a nuanced person who wasn't worried about physical activities.
That's
like you couldn't be both.
Dude,
Yeah.
like people, it's so, I love that you just said that, because like I play the fucking banjo and violin and people think we're a country band, but we fucking rock. Like Ben plays the electric guitar and we have like, it gets crazy.
Word.
And like, but then we'll be sensitive and
We
then
did call
we'll be,
Is
ourselves
it
Honey
fair
Honey.
to say
and
that
then
you
we call
guys
ourselves
are?
Honey Honey.
Is it fair to say you
But-
guys are a Donnie and Marie for 2015?
Oh, Joe.
She's a little bit country.
know.
She's a little bit.
Joe,
Nice.
how dare you.
Hold on, let me write that down. That was a good one. Fuck
I'm sorry, I
you.
forced that one in there too. It wasn't even good, and I forced it in there. They were the first. They were the first fucking like. They were kind of like a hybrid band.
They're brother and sister, though, right?
Did you ever see the
And
SNL
Mormon.
with
Well, they're
Louis-
Mormon?
Yeah,
Louis
Did
Dreyfus?
not know
How
that.
dare you?
Wow, I'm so
Man,
sorry.
they're so Mormon. Remember, dude
You don't have to
from
yell at
Desert
me
Noises?
about it.
Dude from Desert Noises, his aunt and uncle, or his.
You want
they're
to know how
Donnie Marie.
Mormon they are? I'm
They're
gonna,
like
I'm gonna
straight
turn you
up
on to
Salt
something.
Lake
I'm gonna
City,
turn you on to
Utah.
something.
Hook me up.
Jamie, pull up the album of the Osmond Brothers. There was an Osmond Brothers album where they all showed their planets that they have.
Planets?
Yeah. When you die, if you're a serious fucking hardcore Mormon, you get your own planet.
What?
Whoa.
I want one.
That's pretty cool.
Wait,
That's what's
what?
up.
What are we doing here? Why aren't we
One of
getting
their
our fucking
albums
planets?
is like them, and it shows like Mormon mythology on the album, like planets and shit.
Wow.
Damn.
Like you get, how
They
does
were
it go? What
doubling
is it,
down.
Jamie? It's you get a planet when you die. If I'm out of line, please. I mean,
Jackpot.
if I paraphrased,
No, you did
but I'm
great.
pretty sure.
The truth is coming.
Because I remember somebody showed it to me, and I almost blacked out because I was like, "Is this
Wow.
real?"
Well, I'm gonna say something. You know what? I'm not embarrassed about it. What? I don't know. I couldn't name a song.
Donnie Marie?
Donnie Marie Osmond.
Oh, they had a lot.
And I'm
They had a lot.
They had a lot of hits. They're very nice. Like Donnie especially is like a really nice guy. He's very friendly. He's like a super like nice, easygoing guy.
That's awesome.
Like when you're around him, and you know, like when I was a kid, I used to watch the Donnie and Marie show on TV. So like to meet him in like real life, I was like, is this real? Like it totally didn't seem real. Like I'm meeting Donnie Osmond, I'm like, what? This cannot really be Donnie Osmond. There's no way.
I really hope after this we can
This is
boot
it.
up the
plan.
SNL with Louis Marie Dreyfus.
This
Did I
is
say
it's
that right?
called
Louis?
The Plan,
Louis-
apparently.
Which one? The from Seinfeld?
Yeah.
What's going on with our
Julia.
Julia
Jesus.
Louis-Dreyfus, yeah.
Sorry. Louis.
And
we got some sort of an issue with our
But did they have like a
imaging.
huge radio hit?
Yeah, they had. Well,
Well, like,
well,
what's-
Donnie and Marie had a big time show. They had a
They did.
big
It was like
television
late
show.
night, wasn't it?
so it's more
like-
about the show.
I feel like it was like a one night a week variety show. If I had to remember like correctly, dig deep into my memory banks. But they would have like singers on, and they would sing. She would sing, "I'm a little bit country," and he
Right.
would be
Oh,
like,
you
"And I'm
called
a
that song
little
out,
bit
yeah.
of rock and roll."
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like
That's
and they
us,
would have
dude.
this thing.
We're kind of working towards
think
Ben
that.
that's it,
is
dude.
my brother.
I think
Surprise.
it's the plan, and
Surprise,
then there's the
people.
inside of the album that has all sorts of like.
It says going home with that hand. And the,
Oh, the hand that holds the earth. Is that what it is?
yeah.
That's the inside. Yeah.
Going home. Going home.
Interesting.
Is that their home?
But whatever it is, that Mormon thing, whatever it is, it made Donnie Osmond a very nice person. He's very nice. I mean,
That's
so is
kind
this-
of the
Is there a message
the
in here?
stereotype.
Or?
I don't know if it matters. Don't know if it matters. I think in the end, being a nice guy like Donnie Osmond is more important than knowing exactly how stars are made. Knowing how planets are formed in real life, it doesn't really apply to the real world because it's a super slow process, and if you dwell on that, you don't have any time. There's no room. You
Joe, I
can't
have
fit that in there.
a planetary question. Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm reading this book. It's talking about all this gas, all this matter, just boom, colliding together and falling into orbit of the sun and becoming this planet that we're on.
Right.
So why is there heat? Why is there a ball of fucking fire in the middle of it? Where
That's
did
a
that
super good question.
come from?
No idea.
Me neither.
I think it's like fairy dust and leprechaun cum.
Love it.
And
That's
it
what I'm
comes
talking
together.
It,
The fairies and leprechauns, they each fuck a separate tree.
I'll
And,
take
And it forms a
cum
crystal.
Fights to the death
I'll
in
take
the center of the
And it
earth.
takes
I'll
6
take it.
Texans to change a light bulb because
What?
the one
They don't need
seventh
light
one
bulbs.
has to watch the
We like-
crystal.
We don't need light bulbs. We like candles around here. We like to go old school. Ride horses, light light candles.
Burning wax.
We drank whiskey,
Oh my God.
and we shoot intruders.
They're dangerous. They could be threats.
I just
So-
became really self-aware of everything that we're talking about.
This might
Welcome.
be the most fucked up we've ever
Well,
been on one
no,
of these
last
That's
feel so
podcasts.
bad.
probably equally fucked up.
Us?
No, because
Well,
last time I smoked weed and I was like, boo, just flatlined for like a couple
so
minutes.
when you smoke weed, it makes you introspective,
It makes me
like an introvert.
very introverted and tired. Like I don't know. I'm not good at it. But also I'm not. But it makes me sleep, which is great because I have a really hard time sleeping.
Right.
So I think that's something I have just a chemical reaction to it. I've tried, dude. I've fucking tried.
No, I hear. Listen,
you
I
guys
hear
are so
you.
good at it. You shine. You really shine.
I
Serious, thank you.
totally understand where you're coming from.
You know,
Who the fuck knows what it does? I mean, I
Ben
know
does
people that
really
that can't drink coffee.
interesting
If they have a
things.
cup of coffee, they feel like they're gonna have a heart attack. They just can't do it. They just for
It's-
whatever
well,
reason.
Coffee's really weird. Like I'll have a cup and I will just like peak, and then I'll like if I have too much, I'll crash and they get really sad. It's but like for like the 2 hours, I'm just super productive, like emails and shit. Everybody does that. Are you making fun of me?
No. Yes.
If I knew how to
Yes,
put
but
you in a
not for real.
headlock, I would do. But I think
I'm
I do.
totally making fun of you,
It's
but
this
not for
one,
real.
right?
That's the one. You
That's
do
the
like
one.
a karate chop
But
though.
how do you
want to
protect the
turn the
nose?
wrist, turn the back of the hand towards the back of the head. No, the other way. His head. The person you're choking, spin your hand like left pinky down. Left pinky down. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Now make like a karate chop with your hand.
Yeah.
Make a karate chop
Yeah.
thing like you would karate chop,
Yeah.
like straight
Hi-ya.
hand. Right.
Okay.
Now that's what you're sneaking behind their neck.
Yeah.
And then you squeeze down on that. That's how you do it.
I can fucking do
You-
this,
yeah,
man.
you gotta
I got
you
this.
do it. The hand on the back of the neck, it goes into like a karate chop position,
Yes.
like this. And what that does is it gives you maximum leverage.
Fucking take
Ah,
it.
you can
Take
do it.
it.
You can do it. You
I
can
can
do it.
do this.
If you do get under someone's arm, you could totally choke a guy to sleep. 100%.
Thank God.
There's a lot of women. Like if it came to the difference between like a woman who's like a kickboxer defending herself with the same amount of experience in the gym as a
Yeah.
woman who's a jiu-jitsu black belt defending
Okay.
herself, it would be in my opinion, I would favor the woman. Like her ability to dominate a much larger opponent using only jiu-jitsu skills over, especially for women, I think because jiu-jitsu is the most technical and the most positional and leverage-based of
Right,
all the
right.
martial arts. And it's sort of like, I compare it to like getting in an argument with someone who doesn't know English very well. Like if you were having an argument with someone and they were like really shitty at English and they were just slowly, you'd be like, what the fuck are you talking about, dummy? What do you say? Spit it out, stupid. Like it was a mean
You
person.
fuck go to yourself.
Right. Well, that's the same way with jiu-jitsu. Like if you knew the language of jiu-jitsu so well and you had some dumb dude that was trying to grab you, you'd be like, yeah, fuck you. Ah, yeah. ah. And like you'd be like some crazy ninja chick on his back choking him. That is absolutely feasible. Whereas like with striking, the real problem with that a lot of women face is the actual physical size of their bones. Like when you're punching
Sure.
people especially. Like unless you have your hands fully wrapped up like in a good boxing wrap and then a padded leather glove on top of that, it's hard to just punch people in the face if you're
Well,
unless you have a
here's
good
the thing,
sturdy
Joe.
build.
I'm not like in a position where I'm gonna have an actual battle with someone yet.
you don't know that.
I don't know. You're right. But at the
Well,
at
do you
this
want to
point,
do it for competition or do you want to do it for self-defense?
Self-defense. I mean,
Yeah. But see, then you can't say that because that could happen on the way to the grocery store.
Oh my God,
You
yeah.
could run into some crazy methed up chick who wants
That's
to
what I'm
fucking
talking about.
duke it out.
literally,
You fucking cunt!
we
You're
were.
the one!
There's some
Here we
times
go.
where like
We're doing this.
I wish I had the fucking manpower, literally, to like. We were in Nashville like 2 weeks ago for Americana Fest. We were playing this festival, and we were driving under this bridge, and there were these two guys beating the fuck out of each other in the middle of the street. There was like a bottle over the face. This one guy was choking the other guy.
Good
and I-
technique or no?
Not
it
looking
looked
good.
terrible. It was
It was
sloppy.
sloppy.
It was sloppy.
Very
It was sloppy crackhead bullshit.
It's one of
and
my main puzzles.
but
of the
it
human
was
race.
it was like obviously we called the police, but like I had this moment where I was like, I wanted to do something. I'm like, what the fuck can I do? And I literally leaned out the window and I went, stop it, stop stop it. And I didn't know what to do, and I called the police. But like, if I were a
Well, if you're
ninja
about
like
to do
you,
no,
I'd go in there and be like,
no, I would have definitely stayed in my car.
right.
100%.
You're totally right.
You wanna get up in
listen
there.
to me.
Yeah.
Listen to me. If you're driving by two people beating the fuck out of each other, you are not there. Okay? you are
just
in a
want
car.
peace.
You are in a car. Just because it's right in front of you, that
God
shit could
damn
be
it.
100 miles away. Unless there's someone in that mixture that needs you, like if there's someone who's small and they're getting beaten up by someone big, then everything changes. But if it's two fucking dudes,
Well,
you'd
the
be
dude
like,
was like
"You
choking
fucked
the
my
other
pig.
guy.
It ain't your pig. You owe me that pig." And then they're fighting in the street. Just
Pigs are for
drive.
fucking.
So my point is, don't always stop.
Just kiss already.
Don't always stop. Sometimes you gotta let two dudes beat each other to death. It's better for everybody. There's certain people.
fine. That's
It's
fine.
fine. Just give them both rocks and push them near the edge. Go! Ah, let them fall. What are they gonna do? They're gonna stay and keep coal mining? You gotta keep moving, okay? Genes need to flourish. They need to find better streams
Amen.
of diversity.
I appreciate the
Preach it.
perspective.
That's what I'm
Really do.
saying, man. Don't always stop fights, but some fights you have to stop, right? Right? The classic is a man beating a woman. If you
There
get
was
out
a-
and see
there was
man
a,
beating a woman.
There's a small battle in the front row of the Honey Honey show the other day in Long Beach.
Don't like that.
I don't like that either, but I also
Ooh,
think it's
my
amazing
people.
because like I'm
My
like
people are
guys,
fucking up.
guys.
Come
you're,
on,
You're at
guys.
a Honey show.
Don't
I mean,
hug each other.
it's like it sounds.
There's some of that.
Look, we're fucking hardcore, but also we're fucking lovers. And it was amazing to have these dudes were fighting, and I was like, "Fuck you, motherfucker!" And I was like, "Guys, one of you has a Honey Honey T-shirt on." And I just want to be like, let's think about this for a second.
Here's I hate that expression. Pro tip. Whenever someone tells you that they're hardcore, they're never hardcore.
Yeah,
That's 100%.
That's
and like
fair.
when that expression, but we're hardcore.
but
That never comes out of the mouth.
But Joe, check this out. Like, cause
That
you
sounds like
you
sound-
cry sometimes.
sound advice.
Like
Yes.
you're just as hardcore as you are soft.
Yo,
Kinda
no,
never.
no,
I
no,
think you're
hardcore.
equal parts,
But
dude.
I will never claim hardcore. I've never claimed
you're
hardcore.
softcore?
I don't say it. I'm more of like a medium core.
Medium
I
core.
believe I'm balanced. I'm all about longevity, balance, thought,
I support that.
constant assessment of the path.
Kinda gummy.
Don't try to run the furthest. Try to make sure you hit the least trees.
Nice.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah?
I think it's like super. It's super important to
So keep your
evaluate
arms close to your
the
sides.
next few steps. Well, I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of fucking continuing the same patterns that have
Yeah.
got people into the positions we're in now.
Watch the
Sure.
flailing.
That
Yeah, a
reminded
lot of flailing.
Yeah, don't stop doing that.
That's a great
Dangerous.
word too. It's
Yeah.
perfect for it. It
Paints the
sounds like
picture.
what it looks like. Flailing.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
Right? Flailing is like one of the best words ever. Descriptively.
That's a good one.
Like you
I
fucking
flail all the
flailing
time.
spastic. If you call someone a flailer,
Uh-huh.
damn, you got him.
It's true.
Right? What are they
Yeah,
gonna say?
they take them down.
Fucking hardcore, bro.
You're a flailer.
Dude, you're flailing.
Yeah.
You're just running, flailing.
Then the minute you
Screaming.
use that
Fail
word,
in
they
it.
crumble, and they're like, "You're right. I know."
It's
I'm
definitely
sorry."
a word that like forces you into a bad position, you know?
Sure. It's a
That's
very
the person
unsturdy
You're
who's
already
word.
there. I think that's how you try.
Flailing is
Yeah.
not like, oh, you've got your footing. It's like, you're fucking falling out of control. Let me hold you.
I think conversations are in a lot of ways, they're like numerical exchanges. Like, you know, you say something that's 30 and she goes, "Oh, this bitch wants to get crazy." And she says something that's 37 and then you might just ratchet it right up to 90 and everybody's
wow.
like, "What in
You're
the
like,
fuck?"
what happened to 40,
But-
42, and 16,
Yeah.
70?
But if we take away the cultural context of the words, she calls me a cunt. My mother told me, don't ever let a girl call you a fucking cunt. If a girl calls you a cunt, you stab her. You stab her in front of your mother. It's fucking to the death. To the death.
Cunt is a big
Right?
word.
But what are those things? What are those moments? Well, those really take away the cultural context. There's a numerical value to the expression. Like that girl hit you with a 90 bomb. You're a cunt with a steaky pussy. No! No! That bitch tried to cut to the bone.
Oh, man.
She tries to go through your emotions to get to your fucking nervous system and start chiseling in there.
I do that
Chipping away at
sometimes.
the
Yeah.
fucking the. Do you do that sometimes?
Occasionally. Yeah.
But I think that's what
It's a
it
dark
is.
place.
If you look at it not in terms of like a conversation between two people that are being mean to each other, like throw all that stuff away. Throw out all the cultural framework that we have. You're watching a number exchange. You're watching people play a game.
And a sound exchange too.
Yeah.
That's, I keep trying to fucking get it to sound.
It's a competition. It's a competition. There's a social competition involved in people being mean to each other.
Oh.
I really think that's what when people like, someone hits you with a 32 and you hit them with a fucking 40, you're like, whoa, I walked away on a 40.
Yeah.
And I was going to fucking keep going, but I decided, nice clean kill. There's a competition. You'll go back to the water cooler, you talk about it. This fucking guy comes up to me and he says, well, one day maybe you'll be a manager too. I'm like, bitch, you don't think I know your fucking dad owns the company? Are you out of your mind?
Ooh.
If you had to live in my life.
Specifically, what are you talking about?
They'll shut the door, they'll lock the fucking lunchroom, and they'll have these deep conversations. I told this motherfucker, if your dad didn't own this company, you'd be buried under my fucking house. You understand me?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's what people do. So they go through but what are they doing? They're number exchanging. That's what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're
I
trying
get
to
it.
win some stupid social game.
Then we do
Dominance.
that sometimes, but then we're okay with
Well,
it.
it's all dynamic.
Oh, whoa, she just got real with you, bro.
Word. Okay,
No,
sorry.
we
See what
fight
say that
hard.
again? See what
We
happened
fight
right
hard.
there?
We had a big fight like last week. I
Get it
got
out.
out of the
It's still
car,
going.
took a
Damn.
long walk,
Damn.
thought I was going to take the train to the
You need a
next
manager.
city.
You need me to travel with
No,
you.
no.
I see what's going
You know
on.
what?
Do it. We'll
It's-
go to Africa.
Can I be honest with you about something?
What?
This
Ben's a cunt.
She hates me. She
She's
fucking
pointing.
hates me.
She's
I lo-
pointing. Can I be honest? This fucking guy, the
This
guy
guy's
that,
been following me around. Oh,
You're right. I
you know,
spent the
half
better
my
part of the
band,
last
you know,
10
whatever.
years with
Right.
you because I hate you. No, but it's true. It's something. The numbers game. I have a temper, for sure. And some triggers, as do you.
We all have tempers. It just
but-
takes different things to get
but
there.
the maintenance of this band that we're in requires a certain frequency. Your fucking favorite word today. That
good
like
word.
if
I mean,
we don't
yeah.
if we don't exist in that, there can be an imbalance, and then it can build into this fight, and then we'll fucking fight because we're in a fucking band. But like.
Because we're
it's-
two people that spend so
much time together.
and go through all these incredible experiences, but there's a certain
And
there's
finish each other's
there's
sandwiches.
There's a stress that comes along with it. You know what I mean? It's
I
just,
totally
and you know,
get it.
dude, you're
Yeah.
traveling, you're doing these shows, or just living, whatever.
But-
Well,
You're with-
my relationship with the comedians that I work with is less intimate because we don't share. We very, very, very,
Same-
very
same
rarely
sandwiches.
share a stage at the same time.
Yeah.
And we don't have to practice together.
Right. Mhm.
And we, it's a totally different experience, I
Oh,
think,
yeah.
because it's like you guys, if you have a bunch of friends that you consistently tour with, that were not in your band, like.
It's very, very. Talk about numbers. Having the right combination of people, because we're in a used Cadillac Escalade, 2007,
This is how all good romance novels start.
and there's room for about 4 people, save for a girlfriend. Every once in a while, our drummer's girlfriend comes out, or possibly
that
our
bitch.
I know she's great.
She
She's
ruins
really great.
everything.
She's very sweet.
Yeah.
Joe, don't do that. We need to have
joking. First of all, I'm sure you're a wonderful person if you're listening to this.
Yeah,
I was
she's
just
great.
joking. I'm not talking about you at all. I couldn't possibly be talking about you. I don't know you, and they have said nothing wrong about you. So, point that
We're
out.
covered.
These are just jokes.
Keep
But
it legal.
like you have this like combination of personal space
And that cunt who keeps talking. She's trying to read my text.
Oh my
Listen, you
God.
fucking bitch. This is
I
your
can't, it's
side
really-
of the bus. This is my side of the bus. You wouldn't even be here if you weren't
Joe
for
made and
fucking
broke
being-
Honey.
It is.
These are jokes. I'm just
All
joking.
over.
No, but it's
Sure,
funny
if she's
because
nice,
like
she'll get it.
we fucking like we will fight and then we'll have these great experiences like where we just you have to like work it's like we're all married, everyone in the band, it's like you spent so much time together to this point where like I know by the way that Ben breathes sometimes that like he's really fucking mad, or
Sometimes
he
you're
needs a
wrong.
sandwich,
Or you're just
like
creating drama with your fake psychic powers.
We have psychic fights.
There it is.
We have psychic fights.
I
That's
know you're
beautiful.
mad at me. Now spit it out. I'm mad at you now.
Joe, please come on the road with us. Please, please, Joe.
Listen,
Please.
you guys need more people to bounce off of. You need to get annoyed at me every now and then. You're like, tell that fucking guy to just turn it off. Turn it off. No more jokes. No more
No,
funny.
but we have good dosing. You know what I mean? We see each other every couple months.
I honestly
you know?
do think it's like eating meatloaf every day when you're with the same person every day. Like you want to meet new people, but you guys are achieving something that you couldn't achieve if you're just in this like crazy life where you went one way and you guys got this weird thing going on because you have this weird. You have this artistic synergy, I would say, in that like you're both very different, but you're also very. You're very cool to each other. Like as much as you guys get in fights, like when you guys are nice to each other, like I can see like when you guys interact that you genuinely love each other and you're genuinely friends. And if you do say something a little mean occasionally, you're genuinely sorry and you genuinely care and love each other.
No,
so when you guys do that, but it comes out. That comes out in your music. You guys aren't, you're not day players on a fucking sitcom pretending to be in love with each other. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you guys aren't like fucking guys that studio musicians they brought in never met each other and they're gonna lay down a track. No, you guys have been doing this, and you have like this thing you're doing together. You know, there's this. You have to deal with the fact that you're so intimate with each other. Like you're gonna annoy the fuck out of each other. You are each other. I mean, you guys are.
It's fucked up.
You can totally
It's not
move on
fucked
with
up.
your lives. If it gets
It's
too
beautiful
crazy,
and fucked
you
up.
totally could. But right now you can't, because right now you're like almost one person.
Wow.
You guys are almost like one like really well spread out person.
You just saved me so much money in therapy. I can't even tell you. I'm glad because I can't afford it.
It's too good. It's too good together. You guys are too good together. It wouldn't work like that with other people. It would be different. It would probably be equally awesome for both of you. But don't let it happen because what you guys have right now, you've hit this, whatever this thing is. You got this ball of focus and experience and musical knowledge and love, and it's all coming together with your own specific creativity. And you guys are just, and you're putting out these songs that are like, whoa, like they're not, like they keep getting better. Like your shit keeps getting better. Like your old stuff was awesome, and then your new stuff like grows, and you're putting layers on these things. So look, you gotta be friends. You should do ecstasy every few months. That's the move. Every like 8 or 9 months,
Thank you,
just
Joe.
set a weekend aside where no one is gonna touch their cell phone. Just do a little Molly.
You know
Right, get it
what?
from
Like
a
that
good
sounds like you're
source.
joking, but honestly,
I'm not
you said a
joking.
lot of really beautiful things, and it's something that is nice to hear. Thank you for saying that. Like
Well,
you know,
you guys
it's
are
a
awesome.
weird life we live, and
Yes, it's fucking
there's a
hard.
lot of
It's gotta
instability,
be.
and you know, but like it's funny, like when we fight and we go to our separate corners, and if it lasts a while, like it's weird. There's like a real
Sure.
darkness.
But it's weird, but it's also part of our dynamic, you know. And I think that's part of all what you're saying, you know. Like
Well,
it's
you know-
all you can't exclude certain parts of it, you know.
And if you guys had some sort of a specific relationship, like if you were brother and sister,
It would be so
we
much
have the
easier.
same parents. Those parents fucked,
weird.
and they created us, and now we are children. And this is my cousin. This is my cousin Ben. Yeah, his mom is my brother's sister, and that's why we're friends. You know, but when you're family with someone who you're not really family with, like I'm family with a lot of people, and not all of them are related to me. I'm family with a giant group of people. You guys are clearly family. You guys are family. So whatever happens, like you're always gonna have to deal with
he's
that. It's just not. It's not defined. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're not husband and wife. You're not mother and son. You know, it's weird. You're not father and daughter. You're not brother and. What's the noise I need to make with my face that means you guys? And if you don't have that noise, oh, you guys aren't married. Wow. Do you think he's ever gonna come in? You know, like those the people go through that kind of shit in relationships, where they're like, just what noise do I have to make that changes your perception of what this is? Because it has to be defined. And then what the fuck? What's the definition of a band of really, really close friends that make awesome music together? What is that? What is that? What is that? You guys two wizards? A wizards and
We'll
a
take it.
and a witch?
take
Like,
it.
what the fuck are you? You know? Like you travel all across the country together. Okay, what do I call you? What do I call you guys? Are you guys accountants together?
Gandalf,
what is it?
Gandalf.
Are you married? Is it a Mr. and Mrs.? No? Is it a non-gender specific designation of some sort of contractual agreement? Like, what is it? What is it? Oh, we're just in
You're
a
like
band
this,
together.
like-
We love each other. What? What the fuck are you
Joe,
saying?
you're like this like angel man that came into our lives or something. I don't fucking
Please.
know.
And you guys to me. I remember the first time I watched your video when you guys did that Angel of Death acoustic version on the roof. I was like, whoa.
That was a while ago. Like we've known each other a long
Yeah.
time now.
What was the dude's name? It was a crazy name that told me about it on the internet.
Balls of
Balls
steel.
of Steel.
That's
Yeah.
right.
No one still we don't know who that is.
He knows.
We
That's
don't
all
even
that
know if
matters.
Balls of Steel
He's
is
like
alive.
a fucking superhero. He has this knowledge.
It's
Oh,
crazy.
he's alive. He's definitely alive. I've had a few people, you know, that's one of the cooler things about being connected to people on social media. They'll connect you with something that you probably never would have heard of before.
Oh,
you know?
it's amazing.
It's just, and then just for you guys, we became friends, you know, in a strange way. So that's it.
Yeah, it's been amazing, man.
Weird,
and it,
right?
and it totally changed our band, honestly. Like, it changed us from being, we can tour the country now, honestly. And this has been a huge part of it.
Huge.
Well, this is the way I look at like all podcasts, honestly. It's like the idea of taking credit for the ocean when you accidentally stumbled upon an opening that turned something into a river. Like that's like everything that everybody extracts out of what they find on the internet is essentially like you found a path, you hit a button, you pull a lever, and a river opened. You know, whether it's a river of Honey Honey songs or Sturgill Simpson or Tom Segura or Joey Diaz. You're like some guy who's trying to take credit for the ocean because you figured out this. If you hit the switch, it opens it, and the river just runs into the villages, and then everybody finds out about Duncan Trussell. And you just keep hitting these switches, and like so. I can't take any credit for it. All I did was stumble upon some switching station for all these like super talented people.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah, but it's a cool thing that you're looking for switching stations.
Not even
No, and
looking
I
for
think
it.
I think
That's
it's
what's fucked up
Well,
about
but
it.
yes and no. You totally are.
it
No,
serves
you
a
know?
pretty pertinent purpose for where we're at right now. It's pretty cool, and it's really great to witness the effects of what you do and at the switching station when we're out on the road, and all these incredible fucking people that come out that like just love you and really learn from the things that you say, you know?
Well, they love you guys too. Somebody had the flower Honey Honey shirt at one of my shows the other night.
The
I was
grandma
like,
flower. I have that tattooed. Right? It's a
You do.
It's a grandma flower.
Shazam! You know how many
Wow.
dudes we're gonna freeze frame that and jerk off?
That's fucked
To the
up.
end of
Let's
time.
not. Let's just
Beautiful.
move on.
Just how
from
it
that.
works.
That is beautiful,
That
That's how it
makes me
works.
feel funny.
but kind of in a good way.
I don't
Well,
know. I haven't decided.
Yeah, make it good.
Connection with nice people online is like one of the most promising like hints at what's possible for the future. Like there's this idea that because online is anonymous and anonymous means you're always going to be mean. That's not the case. Like
Yeah.
you're always going to get a certain amount of people that are shitheads. But those people, quite honestly, almost all of them, they're damaged and hurt people who got fucked over in life, and then they're trying to take out all that on all these other people. I mean, that's the vast majority of what's going on. But the amount of noise per capita is so high amongst cunts. It's so hard because most people don't post anything. Most people who think you guys are awesome, who've listened to this podcast, who've listened to your songs, they don't say a word about it. They don't tweet about it. They'll come up to me at shows and they'll just tell me, "Oh my God, thank you guys for introducing me to Honey Honey."
Really?
Yeah. Oh, all the time.
That's
All the
fucking
time.
Cool.
All the time.
That's awesome.
They don't ever say, you know, I tweet about them all the time. No, the people that are that tweet about, they don't say like mean shit, or they're just
Well, you know,
they're the freaks.
It's
They're the
funny, like
freaks.
when you talk about like damaged people and stuff. Like we have the song called "Bad People" that like.
Love that song.
Thanks, man. But you know, it came from this fascination with like, why are people so mean? And why are people doing shitty things? Like, why do you bust a car window and steal somebody's shit? Or why do you?
'Cause you
why
need
do
their shit.
Why do you? Well, that's one way. But like, why
You
are
want
you
their shit.
sinister? Why are you poisoning the cats in my neighborhood? Like, there's this fascination with where that fucking comes from.
Right.
And we wrote that song, and like it it was just kind of hanging out for a while. I was really like thinking about it for a long time, you know, just why, when do you turn? Were you born that way? Were you born into, like, because bad people come from nice families all the time, and incredible people come from fucking shitholes, you know, they crawl out of a hole. But I don't know if there's any one answer to it, but I just, all I can say is that there's a fascination with where it comes from. I don't know, but like,
what do you think is more common? Do you think it's more common for really nice people to come out of total shithole environments, or for really nice families to have an asshole for a kid?
I think that inspiration can hit someone at an incredible, phenomenal rate when you just don't even expect it. I think you can have information just like slammed upside your head in like an instant, and it could be the littlest thing. And I don't know. I know that privileged families have they have a comfort that unprivileged families don't have.
Right.
You know, and there's just a completely different perspective on need and hunger and emotional hunger. You could be emotionally starved in any scenario. You could be
Yeah,
from
I
a
think
poor, you know what I mean? Like,
experience shapes so much of who we are, you know, and you can have a bad experience in any
yeah.
context. It doesn't matter if you, you know, what your, I don't know, your social status is. You can still have a bad experience, you know, and it can still
Sure.
shape you. And it's
Sure.
what do we value? You know, I think in general, we have good values, things to be excited about. We value kindness and generosity and things like that. So it's rare to see someone, and I don't know if I necessarily believe it, that someone who comes out of a series of good experiences just boom will do things, unless there's serious psychological malfunctioning. It's like you're going to treat people as a reflection of your environment.
For sure. But I think we also have this need to say it's this or it's that. You know, it's a disease, or it's his DNA, or it's
never that clear cut and dry. Though.
right. I think there could
There's
be a
so
lot
many
of
things.
factors, and I think
Sure.
a lot of factors in your environment, and especially your experience, they can kind of push your genes. They can push the expression of your
yeah,
genes,
you're
right?
fucking genetically
Whatever that
predisposed to
means.
things that weren't even taught to you, like, you know, like your anger or your like addiction
Yeah.
or whatever. And you know, I think at the end of the day, like, everybody's got their suitcase, and we need to respect everybody's suitcase, because like what might be a shitty day for me could be like the worst day for somebody, or vice
Yes.
versa. You know, you never know what someone's volume level of their you know, capacity for stuff is, and you got to respect that. You know, like, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to get, but like, I had a bad day with blah blah blah, and like someone's like, oh yeah, my father killed my sister. You know, like, you don't know.
Damn, wow, that's
like
a
that, and that could be their
harsh flip
worst
to that.
day. And I'm like, oh man, I thought my day was bad. But at the end of the day, like, everyone has a different volume of what they're capable of
Experiencing, yeah.
experiencing. And if you're not capable of experiencing it, you'll die. You know, like, you're just like, you have as much as you can take, and then if you can't take it, you're like, that's what you're.
And
that's
even
where
if you
it's
don't
at.
die, it's like, what are you? You know, what are you if you're not experiencing anything? Even if you're not dead, if you're just alone, silent in a room, you're like that lady that killed all those people, and then they left her alone in the castle.
But that was her suitcase, you
Cemented
know.
up room.
That was the suitcase she had to carry.
Yeah. If you're not experiencing anything, you're barely alive, though. That's one of the tricks of being a person. If you're not experiencing things, if you're not having ups and downs,
That's
and
why you got to go outside your
reevaluations,
come zone.
But we're,
Get weird.
you don't
Go to
have
Austin.
You don't do that. Don't buy one of those shirts. Those
Keep it
fucking
weird.
Keep Austin weird. Keep Portland
Portland,
weird.
I was gonna say
Oh,
Portland.
don't do it. I know, and it's not your fault. If you were about to buy it, going, this fucking shirt rules. I was gonna buy it.
But that's not, they've
It's
never
not
seen
your
it
fault.
before.
Yeah, if you've never seen it before, and if you're really young and you have a head injury, you think that I'm just kidding about the head injury. These are jokes. But if you're a young person and you don't know how ridiculous it is to have a shirt on that says "Keep Austin Weird,"
Yeah.
it's the same font in every shirt, and it pretends it's handwritten.
Well, it evolved in a bad way. At one point, it meant something really important.
Not really, because the people that were crying about keeping Portland weird were fake weird.
Whoa.
All of them, every one of them. They're all twats.
But you love Austin so much.
Yeah, but the real weird people, they shut the fuck up and stay weird. They stay weird. They don't fucking protest.
Yeah.
They don't get together and make a Facebook page. Keep Austin weird. Sign up here if you agree. Thumbs up or thumbs down. What's it
Well,
gonna be?
it's a hipster's world, Joe.
It's
I mean,
not. It's not. They're
Did you
only
ever
here
see the
because of
hipster
supermarkets.
Did you ever see the hipster trap?
There would be no hipsters if they had to forage for their own food.
Did you ever
None.
see it? It's a bear trap.
Supermarkets, you think?
The hipster trap is a bear trap, and in the
All
middle,
natural.
is like a 6-pack of PBR, a pack of American Spirit Lights, and like Ray-Bans.
Okay,
And it's a bear
now
trap.
they should do the same thing, but with kale and alkalized water.
Veganic. Make sure it's veganic.
And the Goodwill Cowboy. Look, I love all those things. P.S. Love me a good
I like some
thrift store
hipsters.
cowboy snap button shirt.
Well, I think the inclination behind being a hipster is good. It's like they want to be above the stupid shit they see every day. That's moronic and pedantic. Is that the word? No.
Well,
Pedestrian.
if you want
That
to
too.
get down
That
to,
works.
brass tacks,
Hey, you
the
didn't
hip,
do it, did you?
I sure did. You know,
How
I'm really
dare
trying to
ya.
embrace my Midwestern roots and just fucking go with it. You know. It's
Brass
just,
tacks.
No, my brass tack. I'm talking about the accent.
Yeah.
But you're totally
You
right.
already covered it.
You make me want to get Fargo on Netflix.
But first of all, I'm not that far west. It's more like, oh my God, like the Go Browns. You know, it's just like it's not
Right.
as like, don't you know? It's not
It's
like
more
that. It's not
Eastern,
it's not.
right?
It's
It's
a
more of
little
an
less
Eastern.
Canada, a
Yeah.
little more Rochester.
It's a little less disgusting, a little more books.
It's still not sexy. Let's call a
It's
spade
not
a
that
spade
bad
here.
if you can get them out of there. It becomes sexy.
It's
They're
like,
willing
oh
to
my
take a
God,
chance and
oh my
escape.
God, Joe, you're so hot.
Big city life.
That's not
I got
sexy.
tired of teaching ballet. I got to get out of this fucking town. Next thing, she's on the rock and roll tour bus,
Ooh.
hanging out with her first black guy.
Long-haired.
Are you talking about me?
No, I brought us a sitcom.
I was like, wait, I'm lost.
Listen, we just did 3 fucking hours of a single song, and that's not gonna happen. We can't do that.
No.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do, since you guys are, look, I know how you think. This is what we're gonna do. This is no time for
Joe knows
driving.
how you
We don't
think.
have to sing. We could
This
just
is what
talk.
we're gonna do. We're gonna take
Pee
a
break?
bathroom break.
Yeah.
Exactly. See, and then we'll come back and we'll do a second podcast where we talk way less shit.
Did we do
And-
okay?
Yeah, it was
Do you think we
awesome.
made a bunch of unfans?
Well, it's 6:45 though, right?
Non-rockers?
I thought we talked about
You're right.
Yeah, we got 20 minutes, right? Yeah,
Okay.
we got 20 minutes, but I think it'd be better if we did 2 different podcasts. I think it's cool.
Fair. We should
So I
also
think
talk
we
about our
stop
tour.
and
We're on
restore.
tour right now.
We should definitely do that in both podcasts, especially the ones where they get to see how good you guys are.
Oh
It's-
God!
it's
I
right
was like,
now,
Ben,
this
we
is
need
the
to talk about the
teaser
tour and the
podcast.
new video we just
People are
talked
We're good.
about.
We're good. It's
On the
good.
treadmill right now, you fuck! I've been running for 2 hours and 20 minutes. I don't want to hear you talk.
Oh
Joe Rogan, make them sing.
shit!
No,
Okay, we
there's
can do
nothing
this.
bad about this. This is all super positive.
That's
Feels
good.
good.
So we'll take a
Feels
little
good.
pee break. We're gonna take a pee break, and we're gonna come back, and we're gonna come back with a completely different podcast and a totally mellow vibe. What we're gonna do what Americans in 2015 called "hug it out,"
Ooh.
Oh shit!
And,
I love
uh,
hugs. We're total.
and we're
Well,
gonna prepare for the next hour. In the next hour, we're just gonna have a good time. All right. So this is bonus footage
I don't
coming
know how
up.
that's possible.
You fucking
No, it's not
monsters. We'll see you
possible.
soon. All right.
Wait.
Bye bye.